responsibility that a president and commander-in-chief bears for every single one of our lives. Whether you're a soldier, you're an airman, a Marine, sailor, or a coastie, he keeps us in his heart in the decisions that he makes. We saw this through his first term in the presidency, when he not only didn't start any new wars, he took action to de-escalate and prevent wars. He exercised the courage that we expect from our commander-in-chief in exhausting all measures of diplomacy, having the courage to meet with adversaries, dictators, allies, and partners alike in the pursuit of peace, seeing war as a last resort. The truth is, as we head towards our decision as a country in November, the same cannot be said about Kamala Harris. In fact, the opposite is true, and we're living through this reality today as this administration has us facing multiple wars on multiple fronts and regions around the world, and closer to the brink of nuclear war than we ever have been before. This is one of the main reasons why I'm committed to doing all that I can to send President Trump back to the White House, where he can once again serve us as our commander-in-chief.
It looks like everything's running good right now. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see everything and hear everything clearly.
Because I am confident that his first task will be to do the work to walk us back from the brink of war. We cannot be prosperous unless we are at peace. And we can't live free as long as we have a government that is retaliating against its political opponents and undermining our civil liberties, weaponizing our very institutions against those they deem as a threat. Kamala Harris has done this over the last 3.5 years. She won't hesitate to continue that if she is elected as president. President Trump has been their first and foremost target in this because they don't want us as voters to even have the option to vote for him. I've been their most recent target, added to a secret domestic terror watch list after exposing the truth about what kind of dangers we would face if Kamala Harris is elected as president. We as Americans must stand together to reject this anti-freedom culture of political retaliation and abuse of power. We can't allow our country to be destroyed by politicians who will put their own power ahead of the interests of the American people, our freedom, and our future. I am proud to stand here before you today, whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. If you love our country, as I do, if you cherish peace and freedom as we do, I invite you to join me in doing all that we can to save our country and elect President Donald J. Trump and send him back to the White House to do the tough work of saving our country and serving the people. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, Tulsi. I heard that might happen, but I wasn't sure. And it happened, because she's really an amazing person. So I look forward to working with Tulsi and everybody in this room, actually. And as Tulsi mentioned early this morning, Tulsi and I were at Arlington National Cemetery with the families of service members who lost their lives in the catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan. Not that we withdrew, but the way they did it. We were going to do it with dignity and strength. We were in the process of getting out. We would have never given up Bagram, one of the biggest air bases in the world, 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. We gave it up. We gave them everything. China took it over. China now occupies it. Can you imagine? The longest, most powerful runways, I think 8 feet of concrete down, and we gave it all up, spent billions and billions of dollars years ago building it, 1 hour away, and we're gone, and now China occupies it. Today marks the 3-year anniversary of the terrorist attack at Abbey Gate. Now, we say Abbey Gate, a lot of people don't know what that means. It means Afghanistan. That left 13 American service members dead, dozens more badly wounded, and many innocent civilians also killed and injured, hundreds of people killed. Never been anything like it. It's the wrong base. Shouldn't have taken the soldiers out first. Should have taken the soldiers out last. That's where you'd want to be. They took the soldiers out first, and they had a field day at our expense and our reputation. We will never forget those brave warriors who made the supreme sacrifice for our country. They will live in our hearts forever. And to all the Gold Star families, our gratitude is everlasting, will be everlasting always. We will honor their memory by restoring a government that puts the American people first. Caused by Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, the humiliation in Afghanistan set off the collapse of American credibility and respect all around the world. And the fake news doesn't want to talk about it. They don't even talk about the 3-year anniversary. A terrible word to use, but that's what they're calling it, an anniversary. It's really, I think of anniversary as a little bit different, but it's 3 years now. And the fake news doesn't even talk about it. Our country will never be safe again until we have fired those responsible for this disaster. Nobody fired. Worst, most embarrassing, in my opinion, the most embarrassing day in the history of our country. It gave us Russia going into Ukraine. It gave us the October 7th attack on Israel, because it gave us lack of respect. We're not respected. We were respected very much 4 years ago. We're not respected now. The voters are going to fire Kamala and Joe on November 5th, we hope. And when I take office, we'll ask for the resignations of every single official. We'll get the resignations of every single senior official who touched the Afghanistan calamity to be on my desk at noon on Inauguration Day. You know, you have to fire people. You have to fire people when they do a bad job. We never fire anybody. You got to fire them. Like on The Apprentice, you're fired. You did a lousy job. You did a terrible, terrible disservice to our country. You get fired when that happens. Nobody got fired. Nobody ever gets fired in this administration. It's amazing. All the bad things that have happened, nobody ever gets fired. The problem is when you fire somebody, they always end up writing a book about you, you know? I've had more books written about me. I fire a lot of people when they don't do a good job. I get a book written about me by all these losers that get fired. Every crisis Kamala and Biden have created on the world stage can turn around very quickly, and we're going to turn it around. But only we need strong leadership. We need a big victory. November 5th will be the most important day, my opinion, in the history of our country. Be the most important day. In 4 short years, thank you, under the Trump administration, we rebuilt, you know it better than anybody, rebuilt the U.S. military. We obliterated ISIS. So ISIS was going to take 5 years. Sir, I don't know if you're going to be able to do it in 5 years. 5 years. We have those beautiful jets for $150 million apiece, and they have knives and rifles. I don't understand why. You know, I traveled. You know that. I traveled to Iraq. Late at night, I got in. I traveled. They said, sir, would you do us a favor? What? Close your windows. We're turning off the lights. We're getting ready to land in Iraq at a great base in Iraq. And I went because I wanted to see why we're not winning against ISIS. We've been fighting them for 20 years. And I was told by my Washington, D.C. generals that it will take 5 years. 5 years, sir. I said, I don't get it. And I went there and I met real generals. And you know the story, you probably heard the story, but I had one in particular, Raisin Cane. I said, Raisin Cane, your name's Raisin? Yes, sir, they call me Raisin Cane. What's your first name, Dan? I said, but they call me Raisin, sir. So your name's Raisin Cane? Yes. I love you, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Raisin Cane. And anyway, we sat down and we had a meeting. He said, would you like to rest? No, I don't need resting. Unlike other people that we know, we don't need to rest. He'd rest and then leave. There'd be no meeting. It's just, let's go now. I said, how do we beat these guys? Sir, we can do it quickly. They said, no, they say it's going to take a long time. How can you do it? 4 weeks, sir. What? We can do it in 4 weeks, sir. They didn't use our resources. They wanted to be politically correct. They didn't fly out of areas where they thought the country may be a little angry at us, even though we support those countries. And we can do it in 4 weeks, sir. Well, what are you going to do? We're going to have auxiliary airports for, military ports. You know all about them. Sort of portables, I think he called them, but they're out in the desert all over the place. We want to use them, and we'll use here, but they wanted to fly from here, and it's a long distance, sir. By the time we got there, we had to come back. I said, so what would you do? He said, well, I'd leave from 7 places, and we'll hit them from the left, we'll hit them from the right, and we'll hit them underneath, and on top, we'll hit them so much they won't know what the hell is happening, sir. In 4 weeks, we'll do it, sir. 4 weeks? They said 5 years. 4 weeks is all we need, sir. And that's what it took. Can you believe it? I said, go ahead. I made a couple of phone calls first. I said, is this guy serious? Is he serious? He did it. He knocked it out. He knocked it out. So I could tell you about some of those, what a period of time that was. And I tell that story sometimes because I want to just say we have an unbelievable military when we have the right leader. We have an unbelievable military. Really true. And they're not going woke. Maybe a few people on top are woke, but those guys, they'll never be woke. They could be put in a room and preached to for the rest of their lives, and they won't go woke. And we know them. I saw them. What they did. I saw what they did with ISIS. We knocked out 100% quickly of the ISIS caliphate because we decided to fight. We have the greatest people in the world. We have the best equipment in the world. Now, we did give about $85 billion worth of it to Afghanistan. Do you know that Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world? They sell the stuff that we stupidly left them. We left them $85 billion worth of brand new tanks and planes and even goggles. They didn't fight at night. You know why? They couldn't see. Now they can fight at night. It's not even believable how stupid these people were to allow this to happen to our country, and we became a laughingstock all over the world. And we buried 13 soldiers. They never mentioned the 45 soldiers that just were so badly hurt, obliterated, legs, arms, face. They don't mention. We left Americans behind. We left all of that equipment behind. And if we would have left from Bagram, where you have hundreds of acres, as opposed to a small little airport in the middle of the city, where everybody just came in and it was a mess, you wouldn't have had any of the problems. But you should have again taken the military out last. If I asked a 5-year-old child, what do you think? Here's the facts. Give them 1 minute. Would you take the military out first or last? Sir, I take the military out last, of course. But our guys didn't do that. But I just, it's embarrassing to even talk about it. And I wasn't there. You had another group there. But it's a very big embarrassment because I love the country. I want our country to be respected. And we lost a lot of respect at that moment. And it was so easy. It was so easy because we were getting out, but we were getting out with strength and dignity. Think of it. 18 months, not one soldier was killed under mine. And I spoke to Abdul. I told Abdul, you can't do that. Can't do it. It's going to be bad, Abdul. And he said, Your Excellency, but why do you send me a picture of my house? Oh, did I send that to you? I didn't. Did I send you a picture? Did I send you a picture? I don't remember that, Abdul. But you know, and honestly, he was fine. 18 months, they were knocking out our soldiers one by one, especially under Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. They were knocking out our soldiers one by one, snipers. We didn't have one soldier killed, even shot at, in 18 months. And then these guys took over, and big lack of respect. But they had a lot of respect for us during that period. Think of that. Isn't that amazing? Not one soldier was shot at, let alone killed. Nobody killed. But I'm proud to be the first president in decades who started no new wars. And the reason I started no new wars is they respected the people in this room. It's true. You don't want to have wars. I ended wars. I could have been like in a mess like you have right now. You have every place. The whole world is blowing up. You could have World War III if something doesn't happen fast. And that's going to be a world war like no others because of nuclear power and other power that's out there. But we had no wars. Very proud of that. I finished a couple of wars, and I got troops out between Turkey. If you take a look, Turkey and Syria, remember we had 5,000 soldiers in between two armies. And I took them out. I said, wait a minute. I called a couple of generals. I said, how do 5,000 soldiers do when you have one army of 400,000 people, another army of 300,000 people, and they're in the middle? Can they do well? They say, it's not going to be good, sir. I say, get them the hell out of there. That border's been there for 2,000 years. They've been fighting over it. The fake news back there, they hit me hard. They said, he removed. You know what happened? Nothing. They just kept it the way it's been for 2,000 years under different names and saved a lot of lives. Would have been bad, but I did a lot of that. And I was very good at using a telephone. We didn't have to send soldiers and kill everybody, although we had some of that too. You know that with Russia, where they came at us. I said, can't do that. Came at us again. I said, you can't do that. They came at us the third time, and you know what happened? A lot of people don't talk about it, but they know about it, and they learn not to play around with us. They learn that because, again, we are the best. But we're not going to be the best for long if it keeps going like it is right now. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after I win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine settled. I'll get it settled very fast. I don't want you guys going over there. I don't want you going over there. And I'm the only candidate in this race who can make this promise. I will prevent, this is for the spouses, I will prevent World War III. Nobody else is going to prevent it. You're going to end up in World War III. Look at what's going on right now with Ukraine. They're surging into Russia. Okay? You're going to end up in World War III. And it's going to be a bad one. When I'm president, America will be respected again, respected like never before. They were respected 4 years ago. You know, Viktor Orban from Hungary, Prime Minister, he's known as a very tough leader, tough man, good man, but a tough man, but one of the toughest in Europe. And they asked him a little while ago, why is it that the whole world is blowing up? He says, because President Trump isn't the president of the United States. If he were the president of the United States, none of this stuff would be happening right now, none of it at all. And I believe that's true. That's true. For that to have happened is crazy. I'll take immediate action to restore our depleted military. You know, we don't have any ammunition again. Do you remember when I first came in? They said, sir, right? I see that guy. You were Sounds like you were pretty much involved with trying to fill it up. I like that guy. I don't know who the hell he is. Stand up. Let me see. Stand up. He's like central casting. But that's, come on, stand up right there. That's good. I like that guy. It's true, though. True. We had no ammunition. I took over. They came to my desk. Sir, how are we doing militarily? We have a problem, sir. What is it? We have no ammunition. That's a lousy thing. You know, you're running a country. We got enemies. And, you know, if you have the smart president, you'll be able to do fine. But you don't want to tell your enemy you have no ammunition. I don't want to tell President Xi of China we don't have ammunition. But before that, they came out with a report, before I got there, saying that the United States has no ammunition. I said, who would release a report like this? Even if it's true, you don't talk about it, right? We do a lot of reports that are stupid reports, like a report that came out a couple of weeks ago that we would lose in a war with China. You saw that report? We're not going to lose in a war with China. That we would lose in a war with China. How stupid are these people that would put a report like that? If you feel we're a little weak, you got to strengthen it up. But you don't do reports that we're going to lose to China in a war. Stupid people do that, like the people that are in office right now. So I had, and you will say it, I had ammunition. We had so much it was coming out of our gills, right? I had ammunition. Oh, I said, what the hell do we do with all this ammunition? We had so much. And now we don't have ammunition again. We gave it all away to different groups, but mostly into Ukraine. And we don't have ammunition. We had so many missiles, we didn't know if we could fire them all. We had to hire teams of people, even the concept. We had so much. Warehouses were full. We took new warehouses. And now we're back to a point where we have no ammunition again. These people are just so destructive. So, you know, I always look for good words. Highly sophisticated. Yeah, I'm highly educated. I like sophisticated words, but there's only one word I get. They're stupid. They're stupid people. I'd like to say, I guess you could say incompetent. Sounds maybe a little better. I don't know. Which is better, being stupid or being incompetent? Because
I like brain dead.
So we have no ammunition again, but we'll get it taken care of. Boy, oh boy, can you imagine if they wanted to go after us? Can you imagine that? And we're saying they have no ammunition. This was just released a little while ago. We give so much of it away. We never get anything for it either. You know, Europe, by the way, is much more and should be much more concerned, obviously, with the Ukraine situation than us. But we've spent $150 billion more. Why do we spend $150 billion? Why aren't they going to equalize? They should equalize. I told them, I said, you got to equalize. They don't like, you know, then I read, Barack Obama is much more popular than Donald Trump. Of course he is. He said, we'll spend all the money. I say, you got to pay up. And that's what happened. I got NATO to pay up hundreds of billions of dollars. But then, you know, now we've lost it again because I'll bet you nobody's ever asked Europe to pay up. They don't even ask. I'll bet you that nobody said to Europe, you know, we're 150 billion more than you. They have about the same size economy when you add all of the different nations up as us. And nobody has said to them, got to pay up. I did that. I was with NATO. They were way behind. Of the 28 nations, almost all of them were not paid. Other than that, they were doing quite nicely, thank you. But we had like 7 that were paid, and the rest weren't. And Obama came in, made a speech. Bush came in, made a speech. I came in and said, you guys owe us a lot of money because we were spending our money. So think of it. They take advantage of us on trade because they are horrible to us on trade. The European nations, horrible. They don't take our farm products. When was the last time you saw a Chevrolet in the middle of Germany? Maybe never. I said to Angela, do you have any Chevrolets or Fords in the middle of Munich? No, I don't think so. But we have plenty of Mercedes-Benzes and BMWs and Volkswagens, millions and millions of cars. So they get us in the military, and then they get us on trade. So on top of everything else, it's not a good way. So I was straightening it all out. It was getting straightened out very quickly. And very interesting, though, I said, who would do this? Who would do this? Hundreds of billions of dollars we lose in the defense of Europe. All I say is, let's equalize, we'll help you. But you owe us $150 billion. And during one meeting, I remember NATO, one of the heads of one of the countries, I won't embarrass him by saying which one, but we had 28 countries gathered around the table. It was sort of a semi-secret meeting, which nothing's secret in this world, but some of the press didn't want to report it because it was a good story. But one of the leaders stood up and said, so does that mean he wasn't paid? He owed us billions. Does that mean if we don't pay you, you're not going to defend us against Russia? I said, that's what it means. Are you saying you're delinquent? Well, I don't know about that word. That's a real estate word. Very simple word. It means you're not paid. You're saying you're delinquent. Yes, let's say we're delinquent. Will you defend us? I said, absolutely not. I took so much heat from the fake news media. Now, if I said, yes, I will defend you, they're not going to pay. What happened is hundreds of billions of dollars came pouring in. Because I said that, hundreds of billions of dollars came pouring in. And they have money, but this should not be happening. This mess that's going on over there now is very dangerous, and it shouldn't be happening. I'm the one that got them the money. Literally hundreds of billions of dollars came right in. Guys that were not paying for years, but other presidents never even asked them for the money. They'd make a speech and leave. I was getting ready to make a speech. I said, let me see some statements. I looked at them and said, nobody's paying. We paid for everybody. We were keeping it solvent. One of my proudest achievements in my first term was to create Space Force, the first new branch of the armed forces in over 70 years. It's a big deal. Now that Space Force is up and running, I agree with your leadership. You want this very badly, but I agree that the time has come to create a Space National Guard as the primary combat reserve of the U.S. Space Force. Very good. Right? Very good. Thank you. Thank you. So as president, I will sign historic legislation creating a Space National Guard into law. I spoke to somebody that's a great guy, very much a fan of yours, Marco Rubio. I said, what do you think? He said, I love this. I love it. I love it. So we're going to do that. Space Force has been very important, very, very important. When I did that, the other people came in. They wanted to end it, and they were just hammered because people realized how important. We were getting just destroyed in space, and now we're leading. We are leading with all of the major metrics in space. Russia and China were killing us because we didn't really have a focus on it. And once you did that, we have a focus, and now we're leading in space. Throughout the armed forces, we will make a historic investment in building a U.S. military for the 21st century, investing heavily in drones, robotics, artificial intelligence, hypersonics. Hypersonics was us. Somebody stole the stuff, and Russia ended up making them. But we're making them now. But Russia ended up making that super speed missiles. They go about 7 times faster than a regular missile, which is quite fast. And we're going to build a great Iron Dome for missile defense around our nation. Other countries have it. Israel has it. Ronald Reagan wanted this many years ago, but we didn't have the technology at that point. But now we have the technology, so we're going to do the great Iron Dome, and it's all going to be built in our country. We're going to build it right here. And as your commander-in-chief, I will ensure that the National Guard members have access to train on the same state-of-the-art equipment as active duty forces. We're going to make sure about that. And I'll also get you reinforcement for allies abroad, making them pull their weight. They have to do that, and they have to pay their fair share, as I was saying. And for years, all of these NATO countries spent far less than 2% of GDP on their militaries, leaving our forces overstretched. We were the ones making up the difference and paying for it. To make up for shortfalls and help deter threats, I'll insist that every NATO nation must spend at least 3%. You have to go up to 3%. 2% is the steal of the century, especially when we're paying for it. You know, we pay for them. It's just not even believable. For most NATO countries, this will represent a defense budget increase of about 30%. And of course, if you take a look at their numbers are starting to dwindle because of all the money they're spending in Ukraine. Starting on day one, I will confront the recruiting, retention, and moral. When you talk about the crisis that you have a morale crisis, because I think it's a country crisis. I think morale is about the leader of the country. I really do. I think, you know, you can only do so much. They have to be proud of their leader. They have to be proud of their country. They have to believe in their country. They have to believe in the American dream. You're going to have a morale problem, and that's what you have. You have a morale problem. We will get critical race theory and left-wing gender insanity out of the armed forces and totally out of the United States military. And we'll take care of our amazing veterans better than anybody. In my first term, I gave the VA choice and made it permanent. You know, VA choice, where you don't have a doctor, you go outside. I mean, people were waiting for 4 months, for 5 months. You people probably know it. You have friends that know it very well. They go in for something that was not a big deal, and they'd end up being terminally ill because they couldn't get to see a doctor. So I created and have VA choice. They've been wanting to do it for 57 years. I got it done, passed in Congress. And as you know, they now go in, if they can't get rapid service, we call it rapid service, then they go to an outside doctor, they get themselves fixed up, and we pay the bill, and it's been great. It's been great. But I understand that Biden wants to terminate it. He wants to go back to the old system where you wait for 9 months and then you die. It's not even believable. No, they want to terminate it. Now, after this speech, they won't. You know, every time I come in and say what really bad things, they end up, like I said, no tax on tips. It caught on like crazy. No tax on tips. This doesn't affect you guys. You're not big for tips, okay? You don't need tips. But there are a lot of people that no tax on tips is a big deal. And I said, no tax on tips. I went 2-3 months. All of a sudden, she's making a speech. And they were just the opposite. They were going after tip income, which is pretty hard to go after, in all fairness. And she's making a speech. She goes, oh, and by the way, no tax on tips. And it didn't play well for her. But they do that. Now on VA choice, you watch what's going to happen. They'll end up saying, oh, we want to keep VA choice. But they don't. They're not competent, and they don't. But VA choice has been one of the great. And the other is VA accountability. Do you know what that is? VA accountability. The veterans had some horrible, horrible people in there, sadists, bad people. They treated our veterans very badly because they weren't in prime time. You know, in prime time, they wouldn't have talked to them that way. But they weren't in prime time. And they were sadists and a lot of other things, thousands, 9,000 of them. And it was a shocking act of betrayal. We had to fire. We fired 9,000 people that were bad, and we replaced them with good people. And then Kamala and Biden gutted those reforms after they got in, and they tried to reinstate many of the people that were fired for good reason, because they weren't treating our veterans. They were sadists in many cases, vicious people. And then they gave them the option to come back or get a massive $200 million buyout. Can you believe this? Of people that treated our veterans badly. You know, I had the highest number, 92% approval from our veterans. It's the highest number by far ever. Now it's in the 40s. And it didn't take long to get there, but we had 92% approval rate from our veterans. Upon my inauguration, we will take the sadists that Kamala Harris let in and escort them from the VA hospitals and get them the hell out of our federal buildings and away from our great men and women. Because those who mistreat our veterans will not be protected. They will be terminated. We're going to terminate them. We're going to get them out. Can't believe we have to do it. It's like I have to say it a second time. Under Kamala Harris, American veterans are treated worse by far than illegal aliens. Illegal aliens are treated. You ever see them? They stay in hotels. We have veterans sleeping on the street, and inside luxury hotels you have people that came into our country, many from prisons, many from mental institutions, many terrorists, and they are treated better than our veterans. They don't care about our veterans. As border czar, Kamala has spent over $1 billion of taxpayer money to house illegal aliens and foreign migrants in some of the most expensive housing and hotels anywhere in the country. Meanwhile, more than 41,000 homeless American veterans are living in squalor on our streets. I mean, I hope you people are going to remember this, because it's terrible. What's going on is terrible. You know, we become the Republican, I call it the party of common sense. We want to have strong borders. We want to have fair elections. Like, it would be nice if somebody votes and the vote actually counts, you know, little things like that. But we got to have borders. We can't let millions of people come into a country. I called it an invasion. You know, I got the wall built by using military funds. I said, our country is being invaded. And I was able to do it. We won 11 lawsuits. Everybody sued me. Crazy Nancy Pelosi sued me. She was always saying, she's crazy as a bedbug, that one. She's nuts. She's a nut. But at least Joe Biden likes her a lot. No, I don't think so. Think he's angry? He fights for a year and a half in a primary system. He ends up getting 14 million votes. And they have somebody that didn't get one vote. She was let out sooner than anybody. She never made Iowa the first state, never made it. She was the first one out of 22 people to quit. And she's now the nominee of the party. I mean, explain this, please. When I take office, I will sign an executive order to stop every penny that Harris has been spending on the shelter and transport of illegal aliens, and we will redirect that money to provide shelter and treatment for homeless American veterans. And we will end very rapidly veterans' homelessness in America. We had it down to a level that was the lowest in a long time. We would have had it knocked out, but we were interrupted. As you know, Kamala's border invasion has directly impacted thousands of National Guard families. I'll tell you what, African-American families, Hispanic American families, their jobs are being taken. Unrelated to you, but their jobs are being taken. What's happening at our border, and she's in charge. And now she sort of said, well, I wasn't really involved too much with the border. I wasn't involved. And even better, now she's saying, oh, well, we actually had strong borders. You know, if they say it enough, even though we had probably 20 million people, more than 20 million people, but they figure if you say it over and over again, our borders were strong, our borders were strong, and these are people that are not into it, maybe like us, maybe like me, certainly. Nobody's into it like me. I had a nice life until I did this, you know that? I had a nice, very beautiful life. But I wouldn't change it. They said, would you have done it again? I said, absolutely, because we're going to make America great again. We already did, and we're going to do it again. But last Thanksgiving, thank you. Last Thanksgiving, I visited the southern border near McAllen, Texas, where patriots of the Texas National Guard were doing the job that Harris refused to do. She refused to do it. In fact, when our guardsmen put up razor wire and buoys to stop illegal crossings, Kamala and Joe Biden, Crooked Joe, sued to take those defenses down. You know that, right? How about where they say, no, we have a strong border, they don't, it's so bad. But then we find out that they flew almost 1 million people in over the border. They flew. That stops all of their, I shouldn't say this, because if there's a debate, it would be nice to surprise her with that one. They flew. They have an answer to everything. Well, we decided, look, they flew almost 1 million people into our country. Our country can't handle it. No country can handle it. Our country's going to go bankrupt. No country can handle it. They're taking over the schools. They're taking over the hospitals. They're taking over everything, and they're getting jobs that were taken by other people that are not too happy. But think of it. They flew almost 1 million people over everything because they were saying about how strong the border. But then they say, well, what about the 1 million people you flew? They have no answer for that one yet, but they'll come up with one. They always have an answer. I want to salute every Guard member who has deployed as part of Operation Lone Star to defend America from her migrant invasion. It's what it is, including those from Texas, Florida, Georgia, Ohio, Idaho, Iowa, Oklahoma, North Dakota, South Dakota, Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, or as they say, Missouri. I love Missouri. I love that state. They do say it that way. Never quite understood that, but I say it that way because I won by 25 points, so I say it that way. It's true. Utah, Tennessee, Montana, Nebraska, Indiana, and New Hampshire. Oh, every one of them. I want to thank them all. Thank them all. And do not lose hope, because a few months from now, you're once again going to have a commander-in-chief who defends the sovereign borders of the United States above all else. We have to. And together we'll stop the human traffickers, which are horrible. They traffic in women, mostly, and children, but women mostly. And because of the Internet, it's big business. It's big business. It's going to be bigger than the drug business, they think. The Internet has caused a problem. You think of it almost as an ancient crime, right? Human trafficking. Who would imagine? But because of the Internet, it's a big business. And we had it down to the smallest number in 42 years, and now they come along and it's going at a level. They stuff women into the back of cars, and they stuff them into trunks and bring them around and make a lot of money, and we allow it to happen. We'll defeat the child smugglers. We'll crush the cartels, and on day one, I will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of our country, because we have to get the criminals from jails. They're releasing their prisoners into our country. They're releasing their guard. You got to see MS-13, the worst gangs in the world, MS-13. They're collecting them and dropping them into the United States. I moved out thousands and thousands of them. They're moving them into the United States. They're coming back. They're taking their drug dealers, their criminals, their murderers. In Venezuela, crime is down 72%. Because they've gotten their gang members, they're dropping them all into our country. Many countries, and I'm not just talking about South America, all over the world, they're dropping their criminals into our country. They're emptying their jails and they're emptying their prisons into our country. I mean, how stupid can we be? What are we doing? And we're going to have a crime wave, the likes of which you haven't seen. You see it every day now in paper where a person from such and such a country is violent, like at levels that nobody's ever seen before. You don't have to hear it, but at levels that nobody's ever seen before. But what it is doing is it's making these countries, and I'm not blaming them. If you can get away with it, I'd be doing it. If I were the president of such an, I would have done better than them. My prisons would be totally empty. They're emptying their prisons. They're taking their worst people. They're taking the murderers, drug dealers, they're dropping them, they're taking them and busing them into the United States and dropping them, and they're saying, if you come back, we're going to kill you. And these people aren't worried about being killed. They're tough. This is a tough group of people. And we've got them, and nothing good is going to come out of that. And that includes a lot of terrorists. Your choice in this election is between a president who will always have your back and a radical liberal who will never, ever, ever have your back, whether you like it or not. In 2020, when the left-wing mobs came from all over to burn our cities to the ground, Kamala stood with the looters and rioters and raised money to bail out violent criminals all over the jails of Minnesota. She came with money to bail them out. Kamala's running mate, his nickname is Tampon, Tim, but I wouldn't say that, because this group is a little more low-key than the ones I'm used to speaking before. Tampon, Tim Waltz, he wanted to think of this. He signed a bill mandating that every boy's bathroom has tampons in it. I don't think that's good. It's not good. He ignored the pleas of the mayor and the police chief to deploy the National Guard in Minneapolis and said, you're not highly trained soldiers, you're 19-year-olds who cook. That's what he said. You're 19-year-olds who cook. That's a pretty famous statement. As president, I stood with the National Guard as you saved Minneapolis, saved Kenosha, and saved Washington, D.C. I saved them. If I didn't override what they wanted to do and what tradition is, those places would have been, we would have lost every monument in Washington. You know, they came into Washington and they were very rambunctious. They liked to pull the statues down, some of these beautiful statues. And then they hit Abraham Lincoln. I said, all right, that's the end of that. And I found there was a bill from the early 1900s. We don't do bills like that anymore. This said, if you touch government property, statues, monuments of any kind, you will serve 10 years with no probation, no early getting out. You go to jail for 10 years. Very simple. It was beautifully stated. It was like one paragraph. And it had dust on it. It was dusty. Nobody used it because we wouldn't do that because we become very soft. They only go after political opponents. They don't do anything like murderers. Those guys are safe. Drug dealers, no problem. But political opponents, they go after. So this was in very bad. It was a very old bill. And I had a news conference, and they were all over that. They wanted to take down the Thomas Jefferson, the Jefferson Memorial. They wanted to take it down. They were heading that way. They were actually heading that way. We had them all stopped, but they were heading that way. It's like fighting a war. And I went out to a news conference. I announced anybody that touches any of our monuments or statues goes to jail for 10 years. Everybody left Washington, D.C. I was very lonely. They all left. I watched them. I watched their asses from the back. They were all, that's all I could see is thousands of asses. And that stopped. We got it stopped. We got it stopped quickly. They all left immediately, and they haven't come back, although the other day you see them starting to do it again. They're taking the spray paint and they're spraying those gorgeous limestone tigers and all of the different things. You know, when you spray limestone, you'll see it in 100 years from now because it's a very porous stone. And they were spraying the hell out of it. And they were burning the American flag. I want to get a law passed. Everyone tells me, oh, sir, it's very hard. You burn an American flag, you go to jail for 1 year. Got to do it. We got to do it. They say it's not constitutional. They say, sir, that's unconstitutional. We'll make it constitutional. We're going to make it constitutional. But you burn an American flag, you go to jail for 1 year. That was terrible, what happened at the convention in Chicago. They're burning American flags all over the place, and the fake news doesn't want to show it. I will proudly stand with you in defense of law and order. And we're going to have 4 great years in the White House. We're going to make our country very special again. I know your commitment. I know your character in conclusion. And I know your courage. As president, I saw it every year during natural disaster and national emergency. And just a few weeks ago, we saw it in the moments after an evil assassin tried to take my life. That sucker was moving fast. I said, wow. Glad I got down quickly. But it was quite a time. It was quite a thing. Who would think? But that day, a member of the Pennsylvania Air National Guard was in the second row watching as the bullets flew, when the shots rang out and hit a great patriot, Corey. We know now Corey by his first name, Corey. The Pennsylvania Guardsman did not shy away. He did not run for cover. He ran toward the gunshots, took off his tie to use as a tourniquet, and cradled Corey's head in his hands, and it was a tough scene. Corey died, as you know. 2 other people were hit very badly, were supposed to die, and the doctors up there did a phenomenal job. They're living and they're doing okay. And although he tragically could not revive Corey, he did what every guardsman here would have done. And it was a tough thing he did, to be honest. I saw that. It was a tough thing he did. Tremendous courage. Not only the bullets, I mean, just the fact he was holding this guy who really got hit. He really got hit. But he gave his all, and he was very proud to do it. America is blessed to have such extraordinary patriots, as are all of the people in this room. You put your service above yourself, and when our country needs you, you always answer the call. I know that very much. I know the people here. That's the spirit of duty and loyalty that defines the men and women of the National Guard, and it's the spirit that is going to save our country, because our country needs saving. With your support in this election, we will reclaim our sovereignty. We will rebuild our military. We will support our police. We will stop migrant crime, which is at levels that nobody can even imagine. We will restore our economy. We will get rid of inflation. We will protect our Second Amendment. We will lift up our cities. We will secure our rights, and we will defend our freedoms like we have never defended our freedoms before. And we will fight, fight, fight for America. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, just in closing, you've never let me down, never. You've always been there for me when we had emergencies, when we had a crisis, and I'm going to always be there for you, and I can promise you this: together we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, Hooligans. President Trump live. First thing today for Coffee with Hooligans. How do you guys think the president did for his speech today? Out here in Detroit, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. I thought President Trump did very good. He looks well and healthy and all that. I know we're always super critical about how President Trump is either looking, sounding, potentially feeling. He looks in good spirits today. Well, we have a whole lineup ahead of us still. Breeze by You, Trump was awesome. I agree. Did very well. I wonder how many people were there. Quite a bit. More than I was expecting. I wasn't really sure what the event was. I knew that it wasn't going to be a MAGA rally. I just wasn't sure exactly what the event was other than President Trump speaking. Either way. Knock that off the schedule already. Zupia, awesome like always. Heck yeah. What's up, Darkstar? Happy freedom. Alright, Hooligans, let's read through the schedule, because I didn't get a chance to do that yet. So that was President Trump live addressing the National Guard Association of the United States out in Detroit, Michigan. Next we have Trump visits Arlington Cemetery on the 3rd anniversary of Afghanistan attack. He was at the cemetery, I think, earlier today. I believe it was earlier today. So we got that. We got a little bit of Trump stuff. I wasn't sure how things were going to go. We got lots of stuff today. So then after that we have a video titled Trump Legal Cases Which Pose the Most and Least Danger to President Trump. It's an update on all of his cases that are upcoming. You know, the nonsense witch hunt court bullshit. Then we got some propaganda from NBC. It's titled Trump Claims Concerns About Debate with Hyena Harris over unfairness. So they're out here trying to say that President Trump is trying to back out of the debate because he's going to be on NBC and it's going to be unfair. I think that's so ridiculous, because they did the first debate on CNN or ABC or some other biased network, so I don't know why they're even saying this. This is just full-blown propaganda from NBC. Then we got a video titled Supreme Court Limits Arizona Proof of Citizenship Law. Now, whoever wrote that must be extremely butthurt, because they wrote it in a way that is saying, like, this was a bad day for Arizona. That's not true. Arizona made it so you have to show proof of citizenship in order to vote. They just weren't allowed to have all the restrictions that they wanted in that law. But the law got passed. So now you have to show proof of citizenship in Arizona. And like I said, whoever wrote that title is fucking butthurt about it. Then we got a video titled U.S. Officials Arrest Human Trafficking Kingpin. As individuals that are smuggling border crossers. Apparently they got caught. I don't know. The government will probably give them a Woman of the Year award or something like that, and then cut them loose, let them back off into the wild to do some more human trafficking, because our government loves those people. Then we got a video titled Founder and CEO of Telegram Arrested in France. I also came across the listing of the charges that individual is being charged with. It's really interesting because it's basically like they're going after him because of what other people are doing on his platform. That feels really interesting in the position that I'm in right now. But either way, we will be covering that. Then we got a video titled Judge Rules Military Can't Turn Away HIV Positive Enlistees. So I've never even thought about this or heard about this, but apparently if you're HIV positive, you were not allowed to be in the military. Well, in this video, they invented a new word I've never heard of, and I can't even think what it is right this second. I can't remember exactly what the word is right this moment, but apparently you can have such low traces of HIV that it's almost undetectable. And if you are meeting these standards, then it's so undetectable that apparently you can't transmit it to other people. I've never heard of that shit ever in my life. Never in my life. You got enough of it to test positive, but not enough of it to give to another person. I don't know. I personally don't think this is real, but these individuals are saying it's real, and now they got the government on board with it, so the military hiring practice is about to change. If you fall under this special label, like I said, I can't remember exactly what the word is, and I don't want to guess and all that shit. We'll hear it when we get to it. But if you have this special label, it means you're HIV positive, but not enough to give it to another person, so the military is going to let you be in the military now. I don't know. Do a lot of dangerous stuff in the military. Might need blood transfusion. Don't want to hang out with people with HIV while you're doing that kind of shit. That's just my opinion on it. Anyways, after that news, then we're getting on to our funny videos of the day. The first one is titled A Term of Endearment. And that's a good one. And then we have our official funny video of the day. It's titled Sometimes It's Hard Being a Dog. It's all good stuff, and it's coming up next. But first, we're going to read through the chat and see what you hooligans think so far. And then we'll go ahead and get things started. I'm not going to say hello to everyone because we've been here for an hour already watching President Trump. But either way, we're going to skim through really quick and see what your hooligans' thoughts are. Russell, HIV positive in the military. If you are injured, you can infect others. That's the first thing I was thinking of too, Russell. But they created a new standard, a new label. You're almost kind of sort of detectable, but can't transmit it to other people. Just wait till you. I wish I knew what the word was. It's some bullshit word. I don't know if it's a pronoun for HIV or what it is, but it's not good. It's not good. Guess if you're in my squad HIV and we're on patrol, you got point. Yeah. Yeah, guess I'm for real. Breeze, but you of course are saying unfair regarding the debates. Bunch of idiots. If that doesn't fly, it will be something else. COVID. They won't let Cunt Milla debate Trump if they can stop it. Yeah, Breeze by you. And that's what I was saying Saturday, I think it was. I wouldn't be surprised if Hyena Harris caught the Rona and all of a sudden she couldn't do the debate anymore. Would not be surprised at all. What's up, Calax? Happy freedom to you. Let me see here. We're going to read through just a little bit more and we'll go ahead and get everything started. Ghostly, nah, they basically cured HIV and you can get it to the point where you can't detect it at all. Let's see. It's just not been around long enough to know you are really cured or if it will reoccur. Yeah, Ghostly, I don't know. I've just never seen anything about this, but it's just, I don't know, it feels uncomfortable to me. If I was getting a blood transfusion, they were like, yeah, he's just got a little bit of HIV. I don't want that. I don't want that. Yeah, Pumpkin, a tiny bit of HIV. That's too much. That's too much. I mean, I know people got to still exist in the world and stuff, but I don't want that blood in me. I don't want any part of that in me. Either way. Free the attacks on HIV. People should not be in our military. I wonder how they feel about monkeypox. Astral Hammer Stealth AIDS. What the heck? I didn't even think of that. It is. Wait till we get to it. I'm telling you, they made a new label, and you got just a little bit of HIV, but that's okay. We'll just look the other way, because it's only a little bit. How come they didn't feel that way about COVID? How, you were asymptomatic walking around, and it was, no, you were going to kill fucking grandma, but if you got a little bit of HIV, you'll be okay. You'll be okay. What the fuck? It's crazy. It's crazy. I don't make the rules. I just report on them. Hey, I appreciate you being here with us, Hurley Girl. Happy Freedom Monday, Snooks. What's up, Craig? Happy Freedom. If you were jabbed, you have traces of HIV. Maybe that's what it is, Craig. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're having trouble hiring people into the military, or recruiting them, I guess it is, because they're testing positive for HIV. They're like, what? I've never had gay sex. And they're like, must have been the jab. I just pissed a bunch of people off. That's what I do around here. That's what I do. Sam, don't test blood anymore. That's not going to solve the problem. What's up, Michelle? Happy Freedom to you. Craig, it was just a little bit of insurrection. That's right, Craig. It was just a little bit. It's just a little bit. They didn't even have weapons. They didn't even have weapons. Cassandra, it's like they're mentally... It's like there is mental... Wait a minute. It's like there mentally is... If anybody has AIDS, then nobody has AIDS. Cassandra, that's what I was wondering too. If they give everyone HIV, then everyone is on the same page. I don't want to be on that page though, you know? That's just how I feel about it. Now, before we get any further, I want to remind you guys, as something decides to fly right in my eyeball, if you would like to join the website, right now is the time to do it. Go get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. That way you can watch today's live. You can post in Hooligans Alley, and you can hang out with all the hooligans in the group chats. Plus, you'll be able to join us Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, for our voice chats. I was going to say something I can't remember, but either way, jeffmaclive.com is the home of the hooligans, so definitely go get you a membership. Right now, we're going to get started in this first video. It's titled, Trump Visits Arlington Cemetery on 3rd Anniversary of Afghanistan Attack. Let me see here. Doo-doo-doo. Alright, we're getting this rolling. It's a short one. Oh yeah, we got to do the thing. Anyways, before we get into this, I want to remind you guys we have these Trump Fight t-shirts. Comes in shirts for men, shirts for women, tank tops for men, tank tops for women, pullover hoodies, zipper hoodies, coffee mugs, stickers, and I even made dog tags. Today I got on the Happy Freedom Hooligan tank top. We got lots of items and lots of designs on the merch store. I will drop the link in the chats for you guys to go check out while we're watching this first video. And don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble. Once again, this is Trump Visits Arlington Cemetery on 3rd Anniversary of Afghanistan Attack. President Trump. You notice you didn't see anybody else from the White House there. So that's how it goes. He may not be in the Oval Office, but he's still doing all that presidential stuff. From here, it just looks like he's running the country. Hyena Harris, she don't do anything but laugh. She's out there parading around with Tim Walz, old horse drinker out there. What a mess they are. Nothing respectable, definitely. Next up, we have Trump legal cases, which post the most and least danger to President Trump. Talking about all the updates going on with his cases and whatnot. What's going to happen if he gets in the Oval Office prior to the cases being over with. What cases he can pardon and which ones he can't. We have all those updates coming up next. But first, we're going to read through the chat and see what you hooligans think about President Trump visiting the Arlington Cemetery for the third anniversary of the Afghanistan attack. Cadillacs, God bless him. I watched it live this morning. Very emotional. Yeah, Cadillacs. Like I said, you don't see anybody from the White House there. You don't see Hyena Harris or anybody there. Tin Man, where's Dumb and Dumber at for this? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I wonder if they didn't go there because of the 13 fallen soldiers. You know, after that happened, which was Biden's fault, and then he's checking his watch as they come back stateside. I think it'd be just an extra slap in the face just to even have him there. But that doesn't mean that he shouldn't have, you know, said something or showed up or made a statement during the press brief, something. You know, something, but instead they just ignore it because that's how they are. What's up, Tom Tom? Happy freedom. Be safe out there, Cadillacs. Snooks, you sure look handsome today. Put some Armani on that tank and mail it to me. Snooks, I can't do all that, but thank you so much for the compliment. Mad Joey's on vacation again. He's been on vacation for years. He's checked out. He ain't never came back. Russell, Biden is a disgrace to those soldiers and vets. I agree, Russell. Ghostly, Kamal is the one that's running. Why didn't she go? It's a good question, Ghostly. She must not care that much, you know? Tiger Jaw, where was the Secretary of Defense or the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? It's hard to say, Tiger Jaw. Prison Hug, I'm voting for the president that puts veterans before illegals. Yeah. Yep, Prison Hug, I'm saying. So many good reasons to vote for President Trump. And the people who claim that they're voting for Hyena Harris, they can't provide one reason why they're voting for her. They can tell you why they're not voting for Trump, but they can't tell you why they're voting for her. Betsy, God bless our fallen heroes. Trump is the real leader. I agree, Betsy. They can play this number games all they want. We could see who's leading the country, or at least who we want to lead the country. He needs the power of the Oval Office. If he could get that power somewhere else, I think we'd all just follow him into, you know, so wherever the destination may be, because these other guys, they're not running the country right. They're running it right into the ground. Free the taxi, you need to go see some sun, you pale mofo. It's the color correction and the blue light. I have like a slight tan all year round because of how much Italian I have in my jeans. You guys like that? I tried so hard to get away from it. It still sounded gay. I fucking hate that. Got a little Italian in my jeans. You gotta come see me to see it. I am sweating to death. I'm like, I can feel the heat radiating off of my eyeballs. It's so damn hot in here. For no reason. What's up, Red Bear? Happy freedom. Lee Guitar Man, because she swallows, duh. I mean, that's gotta be it. It's gotta be it. Why are you voting for Harris? Well, because she don't spit. Well, neither does Tim Walz. Stupid. I like how Mac the Goat is just doing a little better. I still haven't changed his batteries because I got to order more. He actually takes 3 of these little watch batteries, and I only got 2 left. He's doing all right, though. He's doing all right. What's up, Denoise? Happy freedom. The noise. The next time I vote Democrat, I'll have a tag on my toe. Yeah, we can't let them do that. I can't remember who was selling those T-shirts. When I die, don't let me vote Democrat. There was some politician that was selling them for a while. Breeze by you. The only reason they're voting for her is because, well, Trump. Yeah, that's all they got. That's all those blue voters got. They don't care how stupid they look, how much they get lied to, how bad they're being manipulated, and the people they're voting for are a bunch of kid fuckers and traitors. They don't care as long as it's not Trump, and that's dangerous. That's real dangerous. What's up, Sam? Happy freedom. Guess I'm Irish-Scottish descent. Me too. Me too. Alright, we're going to get into this next video. It's titled Trump Legal Cases. Which pose the most and least danger to President Trump?
And certainly...
I feel like I'm forgetting something. I don't know what it is, but this feeling is like not going away. Oh, before we get any further, I want to shout out John. Thank you so much for the Cash App over the weekend. You're a badass, John. I appreciate you. Alright, we're getting into this. Once again, this is titled Trump Legal Cases, which pose the most and the least danger to President Trump.
And certainly a big week is coming for former President Trump and his lawyers. Among those, a big update in the classified documents case. The DOJ will officially appeal the decision by a judge to dismiss the case last month. And that appeal is due by this Tuesday. On Friday, we'll get a status report in the federal case on election interference. That stems from Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election, including the events of January 6th. Joining us now is defense attorney Mark Reichel. Mark, good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
It is certainly going to be a busy week for Trump's lawyers. What specifically are you tracking? What is potentially most significant from this week?
Well, it's interesting. I probably think the most significant case actually is the D.C. case, but that's the one where I think the government, through Jack Smith and special counsel, I honestly think that's the one where they're the most confused, and they're going to pause quite a bit. I think the one that's probably the most direct one is New York, because all of those acts are alleged to have occurred and actually convicted now of having nothing to do with his official acts as president. They happened when he was a candidate. And then the small things he did after he was elected in the New York criminal case that he's been convicted on were really minuscule things that were done as a private person. So it's interesting. I think the New York State case might turn out to be the biggest one. If we all recall, when it was first brought, everyone thought it was the weakest. Small world, it may turn out to be the most powerful one, because sentencing is also coming up. There's a motion first to dismiss it based on this Supreme Court case about immunity. But I think that case, there's not a lot that the former president can argue about immunity. I think Georgia is going to be on hold for a while. That's not going to be heard until October. Finally moving to Florida. They just filed the notice of appeal on the briefs. Federal appeals, I would know, take about 3 to 6 months before you get an answer. So I think the fastest answer you're going to see is going to be Judge Merchan in New York State Court.
Bottom line, if Trump is elected, what happens with these cases? Is he able to pardon some of them, all of them?
Undoubtedly, the federal cases, that's the Mar-a-Lago where they say he kept the secrets and so forth, and then the January 6th case brought in D.C., both of those are gone. If he wins in November, on November 6th, those cases will be gone. They'll just be gone. There's no way the Justice Department can go forward knowing that in January he'll have a new attorney general and he can issue his own orders. The New York case would be very difficult for him to pardon anybody, including himself. And Georgia, it would be very difficult to pardon himself in Georgia as well. Those are states that have their own independent criminal justice system.
Okay, so for the federal cases, does that mean some of the strategy of Trump's lawyers at this point will just be to try to kick out as much as they can until after November?
Absolutely. That's the best strategy they have. And it's worked so far, and it's probably going to work here.
Always appreciate the time. Mark Reichel, thank you so much.
Thank you, Natasha.
Well, time will tell. We know these court systems are all corrupt and stuff. They try to get President Trump for fraud, but they couldn't prove that he actually committed fraud, but they just said he was guilty anyways. And then they decided, say he has to pay back $500,000, which they dropped it to like $250,000, again, without proving that he actually committed fraud. So only time will tell what we have in store for the future for President Trump, his crooked court systems and whatnot. I don't know what else we could do. Support him. A lot of hooligans and Americans alike are sending donations and stuff like that to the Trump campaign so he can battle these demons as well as continue on rallying for us. Gotta vote for him November 5th. Gotta get him in the Oval Office or else things are gonna get worse around here, and I don't think anybody wants that. I think even the Democrats don't want that. They're just too stupid to find their way out of the hole. Yeah, there's a lot to be said on that. Anyways, next up we have some NBC propaganda. It's titled, Trump claims concerns about the debate with Harris are over the unfairness. Over the upcoming debate with it being on wherever it's going to be. ABC News. That makes sense. It's going to be on ABC News, where it's obviously going to be unfair, just like CNN and any of those other companies, and then leave it to NBC to spread the propaganda. Of course. It's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat and see what you hooligans think about President Trump's legal situations that are looming. I really wish they would let the Georgia case run, though. I say it every time. If they had all the cameras on President Trump, they do the Georgia case where they're claiming he's committing election interference because he's telling everyone that the election was stolen. Instead of acknowledging that the election was stolen, they just say he's a liar and he's committing election interference, which means in order to prove he's innocent, he would have to provide evidence that the election was stolen in front of God and everybody else. And I want that really fucking bad. After the hundreds of hours of covering the board meetings where they were showing the evidence of the stolen election, people were given their sworn testimonies, and board member officials were agreeing that there was inaccuracies in the 2020 election. I would like to see the evidence provided before the world, because everything was being censored on fucking YouTube and everywhere else on the internet. Facebook is pretty much dead because that's a censorship pit. That's how it goes. So right now is a great time for that information to come back out in front of everybody, because there's a bunch of normies and a bunch of blue voters that still think there was 99 court cases and they all threw out those election interference charges because they're not real. Those are fake, and that's why President Trump has lost 93 cases in court. You guys remember people showing up in the chat saying that shit? None of that shit was fucking true, and now no one says it. So now I'm convinced those were Fed boys or bots or some shit saying that, because no one repeats that shit anymore. So right now is a great time to put all that evidence in front of everybody and go, yeah, it was stolen. And I think people would wake the fuck up to that. I think it's actually going to benefit the dark state, the whatever the fuck they are, the deep state, my bad, I was thinking Star Wars. Fucking, I think it would benefit them to have the Georgia case thrown out, because then President Trump doesn't have the opportunity to show all of America what actually happened on the 2020 election. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, we're going to read through the chat and we'll get on to this propaganda by NBC. Breeze by you. Yes, Georgia needs to go forward so they could bring all the evidence. And Georgia's making a lot of changes. We played a couple of videos where these individuals are bringing, I can't remember how much it is, so much evidence, like a packet of evidence, 4 years worth of evidence from the stolen election in 2020, and then they dropped a bunch of boxes of more evidence off, and then they just made changes, or they're trying to make changes. That's what it is. They're trying to make changes. So Georgia will have to go back to paper ballots and a bunch of other things going on, because everybody knows the election's not fucking safe. It's not accurate. The shit's not accurate. So they're making changes in Georgia, and it would be really interesting if they let President Trump do the case. I mean, let him, it's not like he wants to go to court. But if they did that, then on top of all the changes election-wise that are happening in Georgia, to also have this come out and just blow the door wide open on the fact that 2020 was stolen, could be a huge deal. It red pill all of America. So we'll see how it goes. Reading through. Holy. Thank you so much, Get Some J, for that $10 donation on Rumble. You're a badass, Get Some J. Thank you so much for the support. It says, just because it's not triple digits in northern Texas this week. It's badass, Get Some. Alistair, 123 cases were dismissed due to lack of filing discrepancies, not because of lack of evidence. The cases weren't seen. Media spun it as cases lost. Yeah, Alistair. And I was like, multiple times throughout the live, I was having to sit here and explain that to people because people would show up. We would be covering a board meeting while they're providing evidence that the election was not fair and it was not accurate and so on and so forth, right? And people were showing up in the chat saying, oh, it's lost cases, well, where did that happen? And well, the news said. Yeah, the news said. The news lied to you and you fucking believed it. Now you're here in my chat talking that shit, and I would have to explain that to people all the time. Like, no, they didn't get a day in court. It never happened. It never actually happened. It's like scheduling, what do they call it? Where you double book people. That's almost what it's like. It's like scheduling discrepancies all of a sudden turned into lost court cases. Doesn't make any sense. But the softest stupid people in the world, they carried it. They carried it for like 4 months. And then everybody just stopped talking about it. The inauguration happened after we watched Olympus fall. And then everybody just got real quiet about it. And that's how Americans have been fucking bitter ever since the inauguration. That's why the military was turning their back on Biden and them. You guys remember that? When Biden and Harris are cruising down the road and the inauguration had just happened, the streets were lined with military personnel, and over half of them were turning their back facing the motorcade because they didn't support Biden in the stolen election. I'm telling you. Most popular president of all time didn't run for a second term. Stolen elections have consequences. Lee Guitarman, don't rule out Michigan in the election lawfare. And there's plenty of evidence here. I know personally, wish I could say more. Lee Guitarman, yeah. We've had the video footage from the Muskegon 3 a.m. ballot dump that happened, but then it resurfaced, so we covered that when that came back out. We covered the board meeting that happened there where one of the board members was almost thrown out of the room because they couldn't keep their composure. As somebody was making statements in their sworn testimony, this individual on the board was screaming at them and calling them a fucking liar while they were giving their statement in a board hearing, and that person had to be threatened to be thrown out of the room because they couldn't act professional. And it's because they couldn't handle the fact they were being called out for their stolen bullshit that happened here in Michigan. And I mean, it's like a double, triple whammy, because not only did that happen, but then Michigan, well, Whitmer came out and said, oh, if you talk about the stolen elections, then we'll send the state police to your house. Okay, well, that sounds like you guys have something to hide if you're willing to go after people's free speech for talking about unfair elections, which we have the right to a fair election. And then for the triple whammy part, they audited themselves. And guess what? They found no wrongdoing. So it's like I'm saying, a double, triple whammy when it comes to Michigan. It's so fucking corrupt here. And it sucks. It shouldn't be that way. I don't remember voting for that. Anyways, we're going to get into the propaganda here. This is by NBC. I don't know why they keep trying to say that Trump is scared to debate Harris. No part of that makes any kind of sense. I wish they would give that the fuck up. This is titled, Trump claims concerns about debate with Harris over unfairness.
Do you still plan to participate in the ABC debate?
Well, I watched this weekend, and it's the worst of all networks. George Slopadopoulos and all of the different people, and the worst. And they had this Jonathan Karl, who's a lightweight, and he was asking questions of Tom Cotton, who was fantastic, by the way. Only a total pro could have gotten through that interview. But I watched that group talk to Biden about vanilla ice cream, and then I watched the way they went after Tom Cotton, and Tom Cotton handled it like easy. But when you see the level of hatred in that room, and when you see Jonathan Karl, who's terrible, I mean, he's just terrible. He's just an average person. But they tell him what to do. And then when you look at the roundtable they had, which was Donna Brazile, wasn't she the one that gave Hillary Clinton the questions when she was at CNN, maybe? Is that right? And Donna Brazile gave the questions, you know that, right? That was her. I'm looking, I said, I haven't seen her in a long time, but she's the one that gave the questions to a debate to Hillary Clinton, Crooked Hillary. And when I look at that, and I looked at, there was some other, a blonde woman, I have no idea who she was. The level of hostility was incredible. And Reince was in there, but he was a little bit softer than he should be honest with you. But when I looked at the hostility of that, I said, why am I doing it? Let's do it with another network. I want to do it. You know, I won because of debates. Ask Biden. I won because of debates. I want to do debates. But she, the head of ABC, is her comrade's best friend. You know that, right? They're like husbands and the whole thing. What kind of a deal is that? I want to have a fair debate. And you know, they can ask me tough questions. I don't mind. I think I've heard them all from you. I hear them every day. But I think it's very unfair. The single worst network for unfairness, I think, worse than CNN, worse than NBC, which is really hard to believe, and CBS is probably the best of the group. Fox is the best, but of the other side.
Oh yeah, President Trump, he's scared to debate Hyena Harris. She doesn't even talk. She doesn't even say anything. She just makes noise. She's a bird. She's like a chicken. She's out there making noise, but not making any sense. At least chickens lay eggs and taste good. Hyena Harris doesn't do either of those things. Well, her eggs might be shriveled up. God only knows. Anyways, next up we have founder and CEO of Telegram. No. Not yet. We're not that far yet. Next up we have Supreme Court limits Arizona's Proof-of-Citizenship law. But like I said, whoever wrote that's just fucking butthurt. Arizona now has a Proof-of-Citizenship law when it comes to voting, which is badass. But first we're going to read through the chat quick and see what you hooligans think about that last video. But before we do, I want to remind you guys, if you would like to participate in Free Speech Saturday, make sure you post all of your memes over on Discord or on jeffmaclive.com. Just hop in the group chats on either platform. You'll see the tabs labeled memes. Drop what you got and we'll shout you out as we're making Saturdays more fun. We're going to read through the chat really quick and then we'll get on to Arizona, right? Yep, Arizona. Proof of citizenship. Cassandra. Harris does kind of look like Toucan Sam from the Fruit Loops commercial. I'm saying. She likes some fruity. Look at her VP. And at NBC, I smell the aroma of shit. Yup. I can't wait for the debate. It's coming up. On the 10th. So how many days we got? Almost 2 weeks. A little more than 2 weeks. 15 days. 15 days until the debate, and we will be covering it no, we won't. We'll be covering it on Kick, Rumble, jeffmaclive.com, and maybe Twitter. We'll see, but we'll be covering everywhere else. So Kick, Rumble, jeffmaclive.com, guaranteed for the debate. So make sure you get all your ducks in a row for the debate. Anyways, reading through a little bit more, and we'll get on to the Supreme Court ruling with Arizona. Guess I'm afraid it's about to happen again. Yeah, I think so too, guess I don't know why they wouldn't. It worked the first time, you know, why wouldn't they cheat again? Breeze by you, why is it so hard for people to understand that only citizens should vote? Citizens have a stake in what goes on, not these criminal invaders. Well, Breeze by you, because liberals and blue voters have just as much skin in the game as the illegals do. These people don't work. They don't make money. Not legally, they don't. And they don't pay taxes. They're a bunch of soft and stupid people that want everything for free. Well, that's kind of what the border crossers are like, but they're not soft and stupid. That's the missing part. These people are criminals. They're fucking monsters coming across the border and shit. But they got just as much skin in the game as the liberals do. So if everyone's in the party of asking for free shit, they're all the same. And so that's why they don't care. They want to win because they don't want Trump to win. So if they got to use illegals, which is very similar to liberals, if they got to do that to win win the election, that's what they're willing to do. They'll let illegals vote. They'll take away Trump votes. If they can find a way to do it, they will, just so they'll win, because they want their free shit just like the illegals want. They want their free shit and they don't care how it goes. Just like Arizona. Arizona did an audit They found out that the election was inaccurate in 2020. They found out that Arizona was even more blue than we had originally counted in the ballots. And like I've said many times, liberals and blue voters celebrated it. They said, oh, it's great. Arizona's even more blue than you guys originally thought. But that's a bad thing. It's supposed to be accurate. Those numbers are supposed to be exactly the same from election day till 7 years after the election day. Those numbers are supposed to be the same. They're not supposed to be different. But blue voters don't give a fuck about that. They're willing to win under any means necessary. That's why they're unconstitutional. That's why they move the goalpost. They don't give a shit about anything. They just want their free shit, and they're willing to lie, cheat, and steal to get it. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on. They better not steal this election, though. I'm telling you, people are going to start targeting these illegals. We paid for everything they got, and we're suffering out here. They steal this election, this shit's not going to go the way they think it's going to. Cassandra, I seen a t-shirt that says Texas. Oh, taxes are gay. Yeah, taxes are gay. They're so gay. Cassandra, a bird brain. She is a bird brain. Cassandra, I bet Harris pimps her husband out to Jill Biden. I bet she does too. I bet she does. He seems very fond of Jill, and Jill just seems like she couldn't be bothered to care. I think Jill's got all kinds of dudes in her life. Guess yeah, I read that backward. My damn dyslexia kicked in right at the wrong time. Everybody in Texas is like, what? Texas ain't gay? My bad, I misread the shit. I need to get hooked on phonics again. It didn't work the first time. Pumpkin, if anyone needs tampons, tell Tim. Yep. Alistair, I wouldn't want to know if she tastes good. Now I can't get that image on my head. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, Alistair, I know I need some mouthwash after that. She's got that clitty litter. You guys like that? Fuck no. She needs to clean out her cat box. My goodness. Pumpkin, tell him you'll do the debate at your house. Oh, I absolutely will. But Hyena Harris has to stand outside. I don't want that smell to stick to the walls. Tim Walls. Anyways. Let President Trump know. Let him know. He can come over. We'll do the debate. We'll do it right in the yard. It'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. What's up, Peyton? Happy freedom. League of Tarman AZ citizen law only applies to state forms, not federal. We'll see. They do talk about that stuff. They were saying that some of the limitations were not approved. And I can't remember exactly what was what. It's messy. But as long as people have to they have to supply proof of citizenship, it's good. It is so damn hot in here. You know what's frustrating is listening to the air conditioner running but sweating like I'm inside of a ball sack. Yeah, Snooks, clitty litter. It goes a long way. So we're going to go ahead and get into this next one. This is Supreme Court limits Arizona's proof-of-citizenship law. Maybe that's what it is.
So the Supreme Court...
Let me see here. Either way, I think we shouldn't have to do this stupid shit. But if we're going to, I think all states should do it. We should make it so illegals can be arrested by regular sheriffs, that illegals are not welcome in any state, even though they're already illegal, and that proof of citizenship should be provided when it's time for elections and things like that. So let's go ahead and get this started. And don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble.
So the Supreme Court delivering a mixed ruling in a battleground state. It's now letting Arizona enforce some parts of a law that requires proof of citizenship in order to vote. At the same time, the justices also rejecting other aspects of the law that could have blocked tens of thousands of voters from casting ballots in the upcoming presidential election. I got to get somebody in here to explain all this to me, so I go to Fox News legal editor Carrie Urban. Thank you so much for being here. Let me set you up with this quote from Michael Whatley. He's the chairman of the RNC. While Democrats have worked to undermine basic election safeguards and make it easier for non-citizens to vote, we have fought tooth and nail to preserve citizenship requirements, see the law enforced, and secure our elections. What happened here, and what does it mean?
Well, Arizona tried to pass did pass a common sense law that said you have to show that you are a citizen in order to vote, and both in state elections and federal elections. And the Supreme Court kept the state part, saying, yes, states have the authority to govern who and how someone registers to vote in state elections. But as far as federal elections go, they do not have to require proof of citizenship, because there's an act on the books, a federal law, that says that someone has to swear under penalty of perjury that they are a citizen, but they do not have to provide proof of that citizenship. Arizona had taken it a step further and said, okay, but we need to be able to verify if someone is swearing they're a citizen, and so we're going to require them to provide that proof. The Supreme Court said not, at least for now, and here we are.
But Carrie, I'm thinking about South Carolina, because they have a requirement for ID, right? So how is that different from what's happening in Arizona?
Yeah, where it's different is that, well, first of all, this was the first law of its kind. I asked our Brain Room research team here at Fox to look into this, and this was the first law that required this proof of citizenship across the board. There isn't a state that had a kind of law like this on the books. But the reason, of course, Dana, the motivation behind these laws is because people are concerned about voter fraud. Joe Biden only won Arizona by 10,000 votes. There was a brief submitted in this case that pointed out that Senator Al Franken in 2008 only won his Senate race by 312 votes. So, proof of citizenship matters in some of these very close races. And you would think that people would be on board. This shouldn't be a partisan issue, Democrat or Republican, but yet we've seen that to be the case over and over again.
So do you think that there are other cases like this that the Supreme Court is going to have to weigh in on before the election that will make a difference?
I don't think that at this point in time it's going to make a difference because we're this close to the election, but I think the RNC is happy because they say it's a step in the right direction in requiring people to, prove that they're citizens when they vote. And of course, it's consistent with how we have to show ID for almost everything else in life that's important.
And
as
it
well.
was a 5-4 decision, so but we don't get a lot of detail when it's an emergency.
Right. That's just that, and that's before they reach the actual merits of the case. This is just to allow that part of the law to remain in place as this continues to be litigated.
Can I get a quick word from you on this? The Arkansas Supreme Court blocks an abortion measure from being on November's ballot in that state. There are abortion referendums on other states, including Nevada and Arizona. You can see them there. What happened in Arkansas?
So in Arkansas, there was a group of citizens that tried to get an abortion amendment on the ballot so that they said that abortion rights would be enshrined within the Constitution of the state constitution, saying that after 18 weeks or up until 18 weeks, one could have an abortion, because as of right now in Arkansas, one can only have an abortion if it's to save their life. It's to save the life of the mother. Okay. And the Arkansas Supreme Court there said that they hadn't properly gathered the signatures. Therefore, that ballot cannot be before the voters in November.
Okay, so not in Arkansas, but in those other states that we showed you. Carrie, thank you for being with us this morning.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our...
Well, either way, proof of citizenship is good, I guess. I wish we didn't need it. We shouldn't have to worry about 22 million illegals inside the country voting. Like, that's a really dumb thing. I worry. I try not to think of these situations because I get too riled up. But I think if I go down to the voting office and I see a bunch of illegals standing around waiting to vote, I'm going to say something. Like, I'm going to say something. I try not to think about it because maybe it won't happen, right? Maybe it won't happen. I'm going to sit here and get myself all mad thinking about what I'm going to do if this happens. A lot of times you're talking to the devil if you're doing that stuff. It just gets you all riled up for no reason. And all of a sudden you feel combative with other people. You don't know why. It's because you're sitting there talking to the devil. That's why. But like I said, if I go down there and I see illegals and shit, I'm going to get Klaus Daniels and he's going to vote because he's way more American than any of those fuckers who came across the border illegally. Klaus Daniels was born in America. So in cat years, I mean, he's got to be close to 18 by now. He's old enough to vote. He's old enough to vote. Well, we got to do it too big to rig. We got to get out there November 5th and vote. And like they were saying at the last MAGA rally where RFK Jr. came out after endorsing President Trump, if that's what you want to call that, and they were saying, you know, for people who are going to vote no matter what, go vote November 5th. But if you got friends and family who don't normally vote or they're undecided, tell them to go vote and then tell them the whole voting time period. Because it's better to get them to vote early than not at all. So although the majority of us don't want to vote early and all that stuff, it shouldn't be an election month. It's supposed to be an election day. But got to make it too big to rig. They can only cheat so much. And if we can get people out there voting who don't normally vote and we get them to go vote for President Trump, who cares what day they vote on as long as they're voting? And we're going to get the Orange Eagle in to fix things. Because otherwise, life's going to get really hard and we're going to have to make choices we don't want to make. So, got to make it too big to rig. Next up, U.S. officials arrest human trafficking kingpin. Now, I don't know what the guy's name is, but either way, it's actually a team of people. I want to say it's like 6 people or something like that. But either way, these individuals are smuggling border crossers in and out of the country. I don't know what's going to happen. I doubt anything's going to happen. They don't care. Our government doesn't care. They would stop letting these people in. So either way, we're going to hear about how they stopped. We're going to say they stopped them. Supposedly they're arrested and whatever. But I don't know how you arrest people that you're in cahoots with, you know. But anyways, kingpin border crosser smuggler is what's on the menu next. But first, we're going to read through the chat and see what your hooligans think about what Arizona's got going on. Sam, I'm so glad I live in a red state. I wish I lived in a red state. It's red where I live. But until you look at the damn politics, and then all of a sudden Michigan's all blue. It just doesn't make any sense. Matt, we're screwed here in Oregon. It's been mail-in only since long before I was old enough to vote. Wow, I didn't know that, Matt. That's crazy. I didn't even know there was mail-in voting until 2020. I didn't even know that was a thing. Guess I'm willing to do abortions on Antifa members. I ain't good at it, but willing to learn. There you go, guess I'm. As long as you're determined. As long as you're determined. That's half the battle. Snooks, I'll check it out. Sam, the big towns in Tennessee are the only blue parts. Yeah, Sam, that's how it is here too. It's nothing but Trump flags and American flags all over the place. I forgot until just right now. I'm going to try and get a picture so you guys can see. It's not going to be of my house or anything like that where you'll be able to use the material to come hurt me or, you know, dig your own grave. It's not going to be that, but it'll be local and you guys will see how many American flags and Trump flags. Big, huge fucking signs. 6 foot by 4 foot signs that say Trump Vance. Every other house. I have no idea how much they paid for those signs. I'm so deep in Trump country, I can't hear Hyena Harris cackling. Like, I'm so deep over here. But for people who don't live in Michigan, they're like, oh, Michigan's like the next Oregon. It's the next Washington State. It's like Washington, D.C. No, it's fucking not. It is so red here. It's just these big-ass cities. Like, everyone thinks Detroit is all of Michigan. Like, there's no other part of Michigan. It's just Detroit, and that's it. That's everywhere. Detroit might be blue as fuck, but the whole rest of the state's not. It's so red here. You go into those big cities, you're going to be facing liberals. You're not going to see Antifa. You may not even see that many shapeshifters. We're not that fucking blue here. But everywhere outside the big cities, it's all Trump country. All of it is. You have a higher chance of seeing a right-wing extremist than Antifa here. Like, a fucking 1,000%. 1,000%. Anyways. Let's see. Skulls. Did you get my contribution? Let me see. Let me take a gander. Oh, let me see really quick. Hopefully you're not trolling me. Holy. Are you Eric? I need some confirmation. You gotta be Eric. Let me get some confirmation first. Skulls, is that you? I don't want to, I'm not doxing you. I want to give credit where credit's due. Matt, Oregon started doing mail-in voting stuff in 81. Damn, 8 years before I was even born. That's crazy, Matt. Crackshot, Civil War 2.0, rural versus big cities. I don't think it's going to go like that. I just don't. Once people start shooting each other, they will enforce martial law in a heartbeat. They may not call it that. They may call it, the lockdowns or 2 weeks to flatten the curve. They'll call it something stupid. But they'll as soon as that starts happening and people are just turning America into Chicago, then they're gonna lock us down. That's what's gonna happen. Skulls, I'm in advertising in those 4 foot by 6 foot signs. They're $150 to $200 each. I believe it, Skulls. I believe it. Yeah, so like I was saying, if people start turning America into Chicago, they will lock us down. You're not going to know who's from the big city, who's not from the big city. Everybody's going to start looking the same. It's going to look like military, not military. And that's going to make things look really weird. And I think people don't think about that. They think they're going to be in the streets fighting Antifa and kid fuckers. That's not how it's going to work. Things are going to get real blurry real quick. And it's not going to be fun. There's not going to be any, no one's going to have a good time. That's all I can say is nobody's going to have a good time. It's much easier to vote November 5th than it is to worry about what's going to happen if things don't go well. If they steal the election and so on and so forth. Like I said, you're talking to the devil when you do that shit. I understand what happened. I understand what happened very well. Okay, I covered it. It was the entire time. It's my whole life to cover this shit. Okay, so I know what happened in 2020. I know about the machines. I know nobody fixed anything. And I know that we're just hoping for the best. I understand how flimsy that is. But to sit here and just be like, oh, well, this is what I'm going to do if we don't win. This is what I'm going to do if somebody says this. This is what I'm going to do if it goes like that. You're just talking to the devil. You might as well tell me what you're going to do if you hit the lottery. It doesn't fucking matter if you don't ever hit the lottery. So let's not plan on things that we don't know about. And let's just work with what we got here. Vote November 5th. Encourage other people to vote. Especially if they don't vote regularly or, what I mean, like they don't usually go out there and vote. Encourage them to vote. They don't have to be extreme. You don't have to make them love Trump or anything like that. Just tell them real simple. Do you want dudes and girls sports? You want these Democrats erasing women? You like illegals being here in the country? Most people are going to say, no, I don't want that. Okay, well, there's only one guy to vote for then. It's that simple. And I think that that's more worthwhile to put our energy into than to worry about what's going to happen if shit doesn't go in Trump's favor in November. We'll worry about that when we get there, right? Everybody's got all this energy for it, so don't worry about it. Worry about the shit that's hard. Encouraging people to vote. Going out there and voting when you got too much shit to do in a day. Worry about that, right? The doom and gloom will always be here. We don't have to look at it right now. Until it's in our face and it's unavoidable, we should just worry about celebrating each other and doing the right thing. And that's my opinion. That's my advice. You guys take it however you want. Skulls, thank you so much, Skulls. I really appreciate the PayPal. You're a badass. Thank you so much for the support. You're awesome, Skulls. Too real. I was up late night watching them putting up cardboard to block out the cameras. Yeah, too real. Yup. Guess in the cities, yes. Out here, no way. Yeah. Guess it's simple. Vote in November and beat up any Democrat that comes to vote. I mean, it's that simple, guess it's that simple. They make our machines go down. We knock their voters out. It's a win-win. Everybody's having a good time. No, don't go out there and hurt people. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Don't go out there and hurt people. What's up, Spicy K? Happy freedom to you. All right, hooligans, we're going to move forward. This next one is U.S. officials arrest human trafficking kingpin. Well, after looking at what they did with Epstein Island and all that shit, I have no expectations of justice. But either way, let's get this rolling. And don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble.
Well, U.S. officials announcing a major arrest in the case of a deadly human trafficking incident that killed 53 migrants in June of 2022. U.S. and Guatemalan authorities arresting Ricoberto Miranda Orozco and 6 others in connection with the deaths. Officials say the human smuggling kingpin charged as much as $15,000 to migrants desperate to make their way to the United States. News Nation's Jorge Ventura is live from San Antonio with more. So, Jorge, how did U.S. authorities collaborate with Guatemalan officials to take down this ringleader who is linked to the deadliest human smuggling event on American soil?
Yeah, that's right. And when this event occurred, it made national headlines. So this was carried out by the Joint Task Force Alpha, which was created by Attorney General Merrick Garland in partnership with the Department of Homeland Security, with the goal of taking down these vast human smuggling networks in Central America. Now, on August 21st, Guatemalan officials executed multiple search and arrest warrants across Guatemala in coordination with U.S. law enforcement agents. U.S. authorities requested for Guatemalan authorities to arrest Guatemalan national Rigoberto Roman Miranda Orozco, who has been indicted in the Western District of Texas in connection to this investigation. Now, 6 other individuals were also arrested in this operation, but they will face those charges locally in Guatemala. Miranda Orozco allegedly conspired with other smugglers to facilitate the travel of 4 migrants from Guatemala through Mexico and eventually to the United States. He charged migrants or their family members approximately $12,000 to $15,000 for the journey. The indictment alleges that 3 of these migrants perished in that tractor trailer and the 4th suffered serious bodily injury.
According to the indictment, the trailer's air conditioning was not working properly as it drove north on a Texas interstate. As temperatures rose, some of the migrants inside the trailer allegedly lost consciousness, while others clawed at the walls, trying to escape. By the time the tractor trailer reached San Antonio, the indictment alleges that 48 migrants had already died. And another 5 migrants died after being transported to local hospitals.
Now, Miranda Orozco is facing 6 counts related to migrant smuggling, including resulting in death or serious bodily injury. If convicted, he does face life in prison, Anna.
Oh, just awful. Jorge Ventura, live from San Antonio. Thanks for that report.
Thanks for watching.
Well, we'll see. I'm sure they'll have a follow-up video where they award those guys as Women of the Year, because that's how Democrats get down. That's how they get down. They celebrate people who commit crime and hurt other people. That's what they do. That's what they do. So I don't assume we'll hear any real justice from this. We won't hear about them going to court. We won't hear about them being imprisoned. They'll find a reason to cut them loose and let them continue to traffic children and women and everybody else in and out of the country, making $12,000 a pop. It's pretty profitable. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I doubt we'll have a follow-up, but it'd be really interesting if we did. Never heard of any of these people going to court or anything like that. It's just good for news, so they can pretend like they're doing something. You know, they're the ones that let the border be open. They're the ones that let 22 million illegals come into the country. But they caught the kingpins trafficking. Oh, did ya? Did ya? Yeah, okay. Whatever you fucking say. They are the reason this is happening. This blue administration is the reason that this is happening. So what? They're arresting their own guys? That's what it looks like. They let the trafficking happen. Then you're gonna bust the people who are doing the trafficking? Okay. It's kind of like when they shot their own shooter at the Trump rally, right? Oh, we don't know anything about nothing. I don't know. It was a 20-year-old on the roof. 20-year-old tranny on the roof. Oh, okay. That's cool. Over a month later, we don't know anything about him. Yeah, you don't know anything about your own fucking guy. That's what it is. It's your guy. You sacrificed your own shooter. And they probably did it with a smile after knowing that he missed the shot. They were like, you're a traitor. You missed the shot. Let him have it, you know. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. We got to get the Orange Eagle back in. And we got to do it now. Grip. You can't use Rumble chat. I wonder why. Rumble's been running good lately. Drop a 1 in the Twitch chat if you guys are done with the troll. I try to let the trolls hang out until you guys are done chewing that ass. Drop a 1 in the chat when you're ready. I'll go ahead and throw the hammer. Cash flow. I only feel sorry for those children that lose their life coming across the border. Absolutely, cash flow. It's not the kids' fault that any of this is going on. Whether they're coming here illegally or they're being trafficked here, the children are the real victims in the situation. They don't have a choice in the matter. And they're being used to come in because every adult that comes in with a child gets an EBT card with $2,500 reloaded on it every month because they get to be they're a family if there's a children with them. So these coyotes and these, this cartel, they have like a catalog of children. They're like, hey, we're going to pair you with a child. You're going to cross that border. We're going to visit you in a month and you're going to give us that EBT card. And that's what's going on is they basically have a group of illegals come in. They all get EBT cards. They all go to the same little trailer park area or wherever the fuck they're camped out at. And the cartel will show up eventually and they will be there to collect. Hey, we got you guys in the country. We're going to need those EBT cards. And every month it gets restacked. It's a huge business that they're running right now. You tell them, Klaus Daniels. You tell them, fucking commies out there. Yup. Free Thinker texted, not in Rumble. It's over on Twitch where the trolls hang out. When they come into Rumble, they're just getting eaten alive. Cassandra, it's wrong that these people died, but the dangers that come along with making this journey are no secret either. Yeah, Cassandra, you're absolutely right. And it happens all the time. These people being found dead in the back of semi-trailers and stuff like that, it's been happening for years. I remember hearing about it back in like 2015. Back in that time, I was listening to Wood Radio. I was working at this factory making road repair products. And I was listening to like Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh and all those guys. And it was like once a month at least, you're hearing about a trailer being found in the middle of the desert full of dead bodies. Everybody got cooked inside trying to enter the country illegally. It's so messed up. And a lot of times there's kids with them. And it's bad. It's real bad. Shouldn't be that way. Cricket Kiss. Coyote traffickers receive $4,000 on the front end per child. Yeah, Cricket Kiss. Yep. It's bad. It's real bad. Alright, we're going to get on this next one. This is... Founder and CEO of Telegram has been arrested in France. I'm going to also grab... I have like a flyer thing I got to go get the link for that lists what the charges are he's being charged with. But we'll go ahead and get this video started while I go find that other link. Let me get this pulled up really quick. And this is really interesting. This is really interesting. Now, this is a claim on free speech, but they're kind of like saying, we don't give a fuck about that. We're going to charge you with everything that your users are doing on your website. That's a scary fucking thought. Now, before we get into this, I want to remind you guys, if you would like to join the membership program over on Rumble, all you have to do is click that big red subscribe button right below where you type in the chat. Now, if you're on Android and you're using the Rumble app, you're unable to see that big red subscribe button. You got to go to rumble.com, come to the live, hop in the chat. And like I said, right below where you type in the chat, you will see that big red subscribe button. Click that button and jump through the hoops, and your name will be highlighted as an official Rumble Hooligan. You'll have access to our custom emojis. We have chapstick emojis, screaming goat emojis, Klaus Daniels emojis, President Trump emojis, and more. It's a lot of fun during the live, especially during a Trump live, so definitely go join the membership program over on Rumble. We're going to get right into this. This is founder and CEO of Telegram arrested in France.
He's known as the Mark Zuckerberg of Russia. Billionaire Pavel Durov, founder and CEO of the popular messaging app Telegram, has been arrested in France. The app, which boasts nearly 1 billion users, has long maintained a commitment to free speech and does little to moderate content shared on the platform.
My mission in life was to allow other people to also become free. Using the platforms that we created, or I created, my hope was that they could express their freedoms.
French media reports Durov's arrest was the result of an investigation into whether he had failed to crack down on illegal activity on Telegram, including drug trafficking, child porn, and the promotion of terrorism.
We want to be a neutral platform that is impartial and, doesn't take any side.
Telegram has said it actively combats misuse of its platform, saying each day millions of pieces of harmful content are removed, and saying it is absurd to claim that a platform or its owner are responsible for abuse of that platform. Many prominent figures are rushing to Durov's defense. RFK Jr. saying the need to protect free speech has never been more urgent. And whistleblower Edward Snowden saying Durov's arrest is an assault on the basic human rights of speech.
Telegram says it complies with European laws, but it was recently fined in Germany for lax reporting of illegal content. Allison Kosick, ABC News, New York.
All right, so I found the charges here. Get it pulled up. So this is the document that lists his charges. I'm gonna have to pull it up a second bout here. I can't read it way over there. Just a moment. I'm trying to write my receipts down so anybody who's watching this after we're no longer live, they will have access to these documents. Anyways, so it says here, the judicial investigation was open against person unnamed or charges of complacency, webmastering an online platform in order to enable an illegal transaction and organized group, which almost sounds like RICO, refusal to communicate at the request of the competent authorities information of documents necessary for carrying out and opening interceptions allowed by law. I don't even know what that is. Complicity, processing pornographic images of minors. Complacency, distributing, offering, or making available pornographic images of minors in organized group. Complacency, acquiring, transporting, possessing, offering, or selling narcotic substances. Complicity, offering, selling, or making available without legitimate reasons, equipment, tools, program, and data designed for or adopted to get access to or to damage the operation of an automated data processing system. That's a fucking mess of a charge. Complicity, organized fraud, criminal association with a viewing to committing a crime or an offense punishable by 5 or more years of imprisonment, laundering of the proceeds delivered for or from organized groups, offenses and crimes, providing cryptology service aiming to ensure confidentiality without certified declaration, providing a cryptology tool not solely ensuring authentication or integrity monitoring without prior declaration, importing a cryptology tool ensuring authentication or integrity monitoring without prior declaration. So those last 3 charges are just policy fuck ups. They were using encryption but not stating that in their policy. When you agree to the terms of service for Telegram, apparently they didn't state those that policy being enacted, so the users were kind of being deceived in a certain kind of way. A lot of those charges sound like bullshit. They sound like bullshit. I mean, obviously, child inappropriate content and things like that is obviously a terrible thing. But it's interesting that he's being charged with that stuff, considering he didn't provide that, right? It is his platform. He is in charge of moderating it and things like that. But I think they stated it in the video. It's absurd to charge him with that if it's against the terms of service already, and they are currently cracking down on it. Now, if they could prove that he knew that there was illegal activity happening on the site and he did nothing to stop it, then they can get him. But they'd have to prove that he knew about it and did nothing after knowing about it. And that's going to be really fucking hard to prove. And that's why, like I've told you guys on the website and stuff like that, don't do anything illegal on the site, because I will turn that shit over. I'm not going down for anybody. Like, not at fucking all. I want everyone to have a place to be where we can be social and we can hang out and not be censored by the fucking internet. But I do not want to house hate. Not in any kind of way. And I haven't seen anybody even try to do anything bad. I think everybody understands the website is just so we can hang out and not be fucking censored by a bunch of soft and stupid people on the outside world. But that's a scary fucking thing that's going on. This guy's going down for the users on his shit. Now, I know that stuff is real, because for the longest time I didn't use Telegram because, oh, it's a long story, but I'm not going to tell the whole thing. The shortened version is, when Twitter was a brand new thing, people started making these Telegram groups where you could join these groups, and they're kind of like the dark market for marketing. And you'd get into these groups, you'd post your Twitter handle or Instagram or whatever, and you would participate in liking and commenting on strangers' content, knowing that that service will also be provided for your content. So it's a way to build your online accounts and trick the algorithm, because you're using a third-party group chat source to figure out how to target accounts and different kinds of content. These groups still exist today, and they're very complex. They're very complex. They use a lot of bots and stuff like that. You can have Telegram bots, and it's, like I said, it's a very long story. But there is groups out there that do the same kind of thing using inappropriate content with children involved. There's people who use the app for human smuggling. There's people who use the app for drug dealing and things like that. It is a communication source that is used for dark web activities and things like that. But Telegram's not the only one that does that. They've been doing this stuff in Instagram chats. They've been doing this in Twitter chats for years, decades. This has been happening. This is not a new thing. But Telegram, it was like, you were lucky to not fall into a group that had shit like that going on. It wasn't until 2020, when the internet started censoring Americans, that patriots started picking up Telegram. And I was telling people, everyone's like, you on Telegram? I'm like, no, that's where kid fuckers hang out. And people are like, well, I'm censored everywhere else. What am I supposed to do? So we started investing in Discord. That went to shit. We went to Gilded. Gilded went to shit. Now we're back on Discord. And since then, we've picked up Telegram, because it has kind of balanced out. A lot of that negative shit isn't so upfront anymore. Now when you go on Telegram, you're seeing a lot more patriot kind of stuff. Some of it's Q shit, people taking screenshots and putting red boxes and green boxes over shit, and they're like, oh, the cat farted 3 times and that means President Trump's gonna be president again by 6 o'clock and all this shit, and they use it for that dumb shit as well. But I'm kind of surprised that now at this point the CEO is being arrested. Why didn't that happen in 2015, where there was just child porn groups, drug groups, criminal groups, all this other illegal activity going on so predominantly on the platform? Now that it's mild, now they're going after him? That's pretty weird. And like I said, I don't think they're going to actually be able to get him, because as they've already stated in that video, they've witnessed that he is cracking down on, not him personally, but he's got a team of people that are cracking down on things that are against the community guidelines. So I don't know how they're going to get him unless they can actually prove that he himself witnessed some illegal activity and then looked the other way. That's what they'll have to prove to get him on those charges. They are going to get him on those policy charges, though. I don't see a way around that. Using encrypted technology and providing encrypted technology tools without users being aware of it because it was not stated in the terms of service, he's not gonna. I don't know how he's gonna get out of that. He's fucked. He's fucked on that. Now I don't know what he's gonna get. Probably fines. Probably not jail time, because that's kind of a, I don't know what they call that, a blue collar crime or a white collar crime. I don't know. It's not big enough to where he'll get big charges on that. But the other stuff, if they can prove it wrong, he'll be fucked. He'll be fucked big time. Anyways, we're going to read through the chat and see what you hooligans think. But next up, we have the last little bit of our news for the day. It's titled, Judge Rules Military Can't Turn Away HIV Positive Enlistees, which is pretty crazy. We talked about it a little bit earlier at the beginning of the live. But either way, we're going to read through the chat really quick, and we'll get on to the HIV people being in the military coming up next. Hey, thanks for being here. Get some. You be safe out there. Russell, never understood the Q shit. It's the FOMO. That's what fuels the Q shit, is the fear of missing out. And I've seen it. I've listened to the bullshit, especially after the election was stolen. I've watched people devolve over that shit. Just become crazy people, like Smeagol, like my precious. Like that's how they start behaving, and it causes infighting so bad, so fucking bad, because people follow the Q stuff. It burns them out because it never becomes true. It's a consistent story of moving the goalpost, and they eventually get burned out at the same time of thinking they know more than everyone else, and it causes spiraling. And when they spiral, they push everyone away from them, and then they isolate themselves, and then they get depressed and they sleep for 3 weeks, and then they wake up and they go, wow, I was acting like an asshole, and then they do it all over again, because that's what happens when you don't walk away from the Q shit. Similar to Alex Jones. You watch a lot of Alex Jones, it'll make you feel that way too. You're like, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, they're turning the freaking frogs gay, you know, like all that stuff is going on, and eventually it wears you down and you'll start spiraling, and it sucks. And I like listening to a little bit of everything. I like to know a little bit of everything that's going on, but I don't just invest in that shit, because you can't live your life if all you do is worry about dying. You can't. You can't. Like Prepper, right? Like back in 2015, prepping was like a really big thing. They had the Prepper TV show that came out, and everybody was showing their bunkers they were making, and that was becoming a big deal. But if you spend your whole life preparing to die, when are you going to make time to live? And that was going on back then. Everybody was worrying about prepping for the end of the world, and it was like you couldn't have a conversation with anyone because everyone was talking about preparing to die. And it's like, I don't want to worry about dying. I want to worry about living. You know, we were talking about this for the eclipse, right? The eclipse that happened that was such a big deal. Everyone was like, oh no, we're going to die. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? I'm going to fucking throw a lawn chair out. I'm going to drink Twisted Tea. And if this is how we're going to go, then this is how we're going to go. But man, I want to live life. I want to be happy. I want to laugh. I want to laugh too much. You know, I don't want to worry about dying and shit. Worry about dying when it's time to die. We'll all have our opportunity at that, so don't you worry, you know? Anyways. Are we ready to go over on Twitch? All right. We'll throw the hammer. And they're gone. Contempt. The only reason that person is there is because you guys didn't tell me you wanted him to go. Can't win. Can't win, Ben, on this side of the screen. I ban the trolls as soon as they walk in the door and everyone bitches. But I let them stay and everyone bitches. So it's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, but he's gone now, so we don't have to worry about it. What's up, Granados? Happy freedom to you. Crack shot, the irony, only preppers will survive the Mad Max world. Yeah, and the end of the world is supposed to take 200 years. So, I mean, you know, it'll work out. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with prepping. I'm saying if it becomes your whole identity, you will become a miserable person. Because I've seen it. I've seen it. Alistair, yes, watch everything, then verify the important stuff, and if there's no verification to be found, then ignore it. But you got to store it because someone will believe it. Yeah, Alistair, and that's the name of the game. That's why I'm always saying, you know, like, we cover a lot of stuff, but don't let that weight of the world wear you down. There's always going to be bad stuff. There is. But if you didn't know about it, you're in danger, right? If you didn't know there was poisonous snakes, your ass would be out there petting snakes, right? And so knowing that there's poisonous snakes doesn't mean you have to suffer. You have to sit here and go, oh no, there's poisonous snakes. What am I going to do? You don't have to do that. You just store the information. You come across a snake in the wild, you'll say, hey, I wonder if that one's poisonous. because you have the information, and that's what we do here. We get we gather information, we hold on to it, but we don't let it wear us down. There will always be bad news. We only keep track of it in case that bad news comes to town. People used to ask me all the time, why are you covering BLM riots and shit? You're supporting them. You're giving these live streamers marketing. You are giving them publicity by showing what they're doing. It's like you're encouraging this behavior. No, if these protesters were burning down houses on your block, you'd want me to fucking tell you, hey, there's protesters on your block and you should worry about that shit. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense. Well, that's what we do here. We pay attention to the dangers in the world. We keep track of them. We don't dwell on them and worry about them. We are prepared to deal with them if that happens. But you can't let that weight of the world wear you down. You got to focus on being happy. That's the whole point of life, is figuring out how to be happy. Everything else will happen on its own. Those bad days, the days you get cheated, the days you get the short end of the stick or whatever, those days happen on their own. The happy days, I'm not convinced that they do happen on their own. So we need to strive to be happy. And in order to do that, we have to celebrate each other. We have to have community. We got to all be on the same page. And so that's what we're doing, is we're getting on the same page. We're staying united. We're all in this boat together, whether we like it or not. But we don't have to carry this weight of the world. We know where the danger is now. So we could just focus on being happy. That danger comes by, we'll recognize it, because we've seen it for what it is. And that's the whole point of the deal here. That's the whole sandwich, you know? Anyways, we're going to get into this next video. It's titled, and this is the last of our news for the day. We got funny stuff coming up next. It's titled, Judge Rules Military Can't Turn Away the HIV Positive Enlistees Anymore.
A landmark.
Which is pretty scary. I don't know why they're making a big announcement. They're already having a hard time recruiting for the military. Shit. Less people are going to join now. They don't want to be transfusion blood with HIV people. Anyways, pay attention for the special label. I've been telling you guys at the beginning of the live, they use some special label that means that you got enough to be detectable sort of sometimes, but it's not enough HIV to give it to another person. I've never heard of this shit. Not sure about it. We're going to learn about it right now. Don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble.
A landmark ruling that will impact the world's largest employer, the U.S. Defense Department. A federal judge saying that the military cannot bar enlistees or members who carry the HIV virus and are asymptomatic and below a certain level. Now, the Defense Department saying enlistees or current members who have undetectable viral loads cannot serve in the military. 3 HIV-positive plaintiffs who wanted to serve their country sued and won. An undetectable viral load means that the virus in that person's blood is often too low to be measured. So undetectable means untransmissible. A person is still, though, technically considered to be HIV positive. We do want to bring in Greg Nivens, attorney for Isaiah Wilkins. He's one of the 3 plaintiffs who will now be able to serve thanks to this federal ruling. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Happy to be here, Natasha.
Break this down for us. What can you tell us about your client? He very much wants to serve in the U.S. military. What was his goal? What is his reaction to this ruling?
He was over the moon, with it, just thrilled with it, and understandably so, because I mean he's really just has that patriotic spirit and wants to serve his country, and the military was not letting him do that for reasons that just simply don't make sense anymore, medically and scientifically now. So, and he was courageous enough to step up and fight this fight, and now he's being rewarded with a really amazing victory, and it's going to be great for people all across the country, and hopefully our military will be will benefit from having that will ending the difficulties they had in recruiting, and then hopefully it will be a win-win situation for everybody.
Yeah, it sounds, I understand, a win-win situation. It is interesting to note, and I want to get your perspective on this, the Pentagon was not for this. They did not want HIV-positive individuals, even undetectable levels of viral load in their blood, meaning they cannot give it to another person. They did not want them enlisting and serving in the military. Why did the Pentagon not want this?
It's still really unclear from any. If you read the judge's opinion, you'll see like that. And it really is a stark difference in the way the military, which is one of our institutions which has preserved its integrity in large part, and it has the respect of the American people. But when it comes to this issue, I don't know. We really don't know what's driving the opposition to this, because it's the science and the medicine are very clear we made our we're asking for relief on behalf of people who were virally suppressed and asymptomatic, and so in that context, it's just baffling why this has been so difficult. But it's been a long drawn out fight, and but it's nice to have prevailed.
Yeah, I understand that perspective. I know the Pentagon had also said that they thought that the medication would be very expensive for them to provide the soldiers. But it's interesting that the two lower courts really sided with the Defense Department, barring enlistees with HIV. This judge now reversing that, this federal judge. Tell me one last question for you. Your client, Isaiah Wilkins, when can he officially enlist? When does he plan to start training?
I haven't discussed that with him yet. So I don't know the exact timetable, but I know it's basically as soon as possible. So it's just a matter of getting the gears into running, and then he will realize his long time dream of being a member of our armed forces.
And I mean, we're pulling up these statistics. For so long, we have covered the military struggles to meet those recruitment requirements and enlistment numbers. And I understand you are representing individuals who so badly want to serve their country. We certainly appreciate your time tonight. Lambda Legal's Greg Nivens, thank you so much.
Happy to be here with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation.
So yeah, make that make sense. Got an undetectable viral load. Does that mean like you got the plague and you're happy to see me? I don't know. It don't make any sense to me. Been shooting those undetectable viral loads all my life. Like what is that? What is that? I ain't never heard of that before. You got a little bit of the HIV, like we were saying at the beginning of the life. Just a little bit of HIV, it go a long way. You get to join the military now. You got HIV. I'm sure that's gonna go well. Is it a no ask, like don't ask, don't tell kind of situation? Is that what it is? You can have HIV, just don't tell anybody. That way, when you do these blood transfusions, nobody will be worried about you. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why anybody would want that. I don't know. But we're going to read through the chat and see what you hooligans think about all of that. Next up, we got two funny videos of the day. The first one's titled A Term of Endearment. It's coming up next, and it's a pretty good one. But first, we're going to read through the chat. And before we do that, I want to remind you guys, for our last reminder of the day, if you would like to support the live to keep us running, you're welcome to use the Linktree link in the description in order to make donations. You can do that using PayPal, Cash App, Stripe, Locals, Buy Me a Coffee, or you can even send crypto. We're going to read through the chat really quick, and we got our first funny video of the day. It's titled A Term of Endearment. It's coming up next. Breeze by you. They were saying undetectable. None of that makes sense. Yeah. Undetectable. It's there, but it's undetectable. Must be his pronouns. I don't know. Cassandra, that's interesting. Now the medical insurance has to cover all their medications. I'm not even sure how that would pass. How they would pass the physical part of becoming a service member. It is physically demanding, and HIV is supposed to cause people to feel lethargic. Yeah, Cassandra. It attacks their whole immune system and stuff. So I don't let's let compromised people fight in the military. That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. Russell, I would not want to serve with an HIV POS person, regardless of reason. Yeah, Russell. Yeah. Breeze by you. It's almost like they're trying to convince people that people who don't have symptoms or even detectable viruses, so they can pull some BS on us again. Yeah, Breeze by you. Well, and that's why I think it's so crazy. They made everyone wear masks because of droplets, but now just a little bit of HIV, that's okay. Like, how did we get on the opposite ends of this? We couldn't be within 6 feet of each other because our breath was going to kill grandma. Now you can have a little bit of HIV. The same people are saying this. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense. TomTom, weakening us from within. Yeah, that's the only right answer I'm seeing here. Otherwise, why would they do this, you know? Breeze by you, how is this a win-win? It's not. Matt, they want to kill our military. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Cassandra, what judge rules in these HIV positive people's favor? Liberal judges that have HIV. Oh, that's how they did it. They found a judge that's got HIV. And they were like, what if you couldn't be a judge because you got HIV? He was like, you're right. Join the military, sir. And that's how it went. I'm telling you. But it was like the South Park episode where they snuck in and gave him HIV the night before. So when he woke up, he was just HIV positive. He was like, are you serious? He said, I'm not just serious. I'm HIV positive. Stupid. That's exactly how it went. That's how they got him. I knew it. Damn Antifa and their HIV. Zero. Let's see. They might. If they're going to allow that, then let in Down syndrome and special needs kids too. No. Yeah, zero. And they might do that. They might do that. I was thinking another direction. I was like, why not just have criminals do it then? Like if you're going to let people with compromised immune systems and also who are kind of a threat to non-HIV people, well, why not just let criminals do it too? As far as I know, they don't let felons join the military. Why not? They're probably safer to work with than HIV. Pretty soon we're going to have felons and people with crazy diseases and shit fighting in the military. And the more of that happens, the less normal people want to join the military. Nobody normal wants to go hang out with potential threats, right? Snooks, not every person that has gotten HIV with gay still shouldn't serve in the military. Wait a minute, what are you saying? Not every person has gotten HIV with gay still shouldn't serve in the military. I know that, Snooks. But you just reminded me of a funny story that's going to piss everybody off. I was traveling with my grandpa on the way back to Michigan one time, and we had been in the car a long fucking time. And we would fight a lot on these trips. We would yell at each other because he would say funny stuff like, well, whip the wheel that way. And I'm like, which way is that way? He's like, that way. So I'd take a left. He's like, no, not this way, that way. I'm like, so that way is a right. He's like, yeah, what the fuck? Don't you understand? I'm like, let's use left or right. Let's use those words. So we would fight like that. Well, we're almost home. We're in Kokomo, Indiana. And we're cruising through. And we were stopping at a Steak and Shake. We're on the way there and we're bitching and we're hungry and fighting and shit. And he's like, yeah, you know, I got a friend named Bud and da-da-da-da-da and whatever. And me and his friend Bud didn't get along at all because he was severely racist and he was always calling me the N-word. And so we didn't get along at all. And he's telling me how Bud is still suffering from things that had happened in the past. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, his son died. Don't you know his son died? And I was like, nah, he didn't die. He's like, yeah, he died from HIV. And I was like, well, was he gay? And my grandpa looked at me and he goes, yeah. That's how he got it. And I was like, oh. He's like, yeah. And it's not funny because he fucking died from it. And then we spent the whole rest of the car ride in silence. It ain't my fault. It ain't my fault. He was gay, caught the HIV, and fucking died. I just called it. It is what it is. Anyways, read through the chat a little bit more before we get on to our funny video of the day. Anyways. Free the text say, hey, it's over here. It's over there. Yeah, I miss those conversations with my grandpa, though. We used to fight all the time. Not bad, but just difference of opinion and whatnot. I miss my grandpa. He wouldn't like the shit that's going on these days, though. I'll tell you that. What's up, All Rise? Happy freedom. Supia, how fucked? Yeah. If people didn't want to join the military before, I don't know they're like, well, there's HIV now. Maybe I'll give it a try. MU, undetectable load monkeypox. Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. Sometimes I don't know what you guys are talking about. Lee Guitar Man, what this is, another way to weed out people of whom won't do whatever they tell them. It's another litmus test. I'm not sure what you mean, Lee Guitar Man. I don't know what a litmus test is, though. Great, well, fuck that lying troll. Yeah. Well, like I said, I spot the trolls, but I just try to let you guys educate the troll a little bit, and then just let me know. You know, just let me know. Hey, get rid of this fucker. He's gone. I've learned that if I take him out without anybody telling me to take the troll out, it makes me the bad guy. So as long as somebody's like, hey, get rid of the troll, and I get rid of him, and everyone's like, what the fuck, Jeff? You shouldn't have thrown the hammer. I can be like, that hooligan told me to do it. And I can put the blame on somebody else. It's all good. It's all good. What's up, Mushroom? Happy freedom. McNeely, air fryer hush puppies, shrimp, and onion rings. That sounds good. Sounds good. I haven't had hush puppies since I was like 11 years old. That was the last time I went to a Long John Silver's. Aren't they going out of business or something? Or maybe they did go out of business. What's up, Cheeky Chops? What's up, Mad Marv? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Courtly? Monkeypox is herpes in the butthole. Yeah, Courtly. That's what I hear. That's what I hear. Alright, we're going to get on to our first funny video of the day. It's titled, A Term of Endearment. And this is going to go one way or another. Let me see here. Ah, yes. I love this. Once again, this is a term of endearment.
Wow. I didn't know that. I just, you're telling me now for the first time.
I guess you can't say that in the workplace. That's okay. We'll get right into our second funny video of the day. Hold on a second. And this is something else.
The door is...
Oh, come on. Goofy TikTok. I think I had a fight with TikTok last time. There we go. Alright, this one is titled, and this is our official funny video of the day. It's titled, Sometimes It's Hard Being a Dog.
The door is... Mars. Mars. Come here, big boy. Ooh.
Holy! I couldn't imagine that shit. As soon as I come through the doorway and I just take my whole head out on the damn cone, I'm breaking everything in the fucking house after that. I just couldn't do it. Anyways, hooligans, that is all the coffee I had for you guys today. I'm gonna drop this Linktree link to all of you guys. Poor dog. Poor dog. There we go. Alright, hooligans, there is the Linktree link where all of my links are listed. So if you would like to make donations, join membership programs, or purchase any merch, would really appreciate it. All of you guys' contributions keep us running every day except for Sunday, because we gotta have a day to recharge those batteries. Definitely go join Discord. Discord is our free hooligan community. It's the best way to be notified every time we go live. We have a news board keeping you up to date with everything going on around the world, and the hooligans are there keeping the conversation going 24/7. So definitely go join Discord. If you're feeling real saucy, go join jeffmaclive.com. Over on the website, it is the best way to experience a live. Our built-in chat has more ability than any other platform. We can post memes and GIFs and links and custom emojis and all kinds of stuff right there in the chat while watching the live. We also have Hooligans Alley on the website, which is our social media area. It's kind of like Facebook or X mixed together, but there's no crying liberals, there's no crazy community guidelines, there's no stupid shit like that. It's just the way that social media is supposed to be. Then we have our advanced messaging system that gives you the ability to text each other, call each other, video call each other, group texting, group calling, group video calling. It's also where we hang out Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern time for our voice chat, which is a lot of fun. And there is so much stuff on the website, and I will be adding a ton more today, or at least tonight. So definitely go get you a membership for jeffmaclive.com. It's the home of the Hooligans. We're going to read through the chat really quick. Then we're going to do the pledge, and we will be wrapping this up. But we'll be live again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. And I just remembered, we will not be live Thursday. I have something really important going on that I have to go deal with. It's not a bad thing. It's just something that's important that I have to do. So we will not be live on Thursday. But we'll be back Friday. And as long as we don't have a Trump rally or anything like that going on, we will be doing the voice chat Friday. So definitely look forward to that. Now, well, thank you, Breeze by You. I know, it is so hot. It is so hot. Like I said, I can hear the air conditioner, but I can't feel it. I'm sitting here looking terrible on the screen. But either way, it's important what we do. So the information's important. My looks are not. Russell, there's boobs in the chat. That's right, Russell. That's right. I was trying to surprise the Hooligans, just leave little gifts here or there. They're like, holy shit, he didn't tell us there was titties here. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice like that. Oh, thank you for letting me know, Alistair. Yeah, I gotta fix. I can't even think what it's called right now. Do. What the hell? Where's the thing? There we go. Nightbot. Yeah, I gotta update Nightbot. Thank you for reminding me, Alistair. Freedom, Liberty. I see no boobies. You're not on the website. You're on Rumble. Pumpkin, you look lovely. Well, thank you, Pumpkin. I appreciate the compliment. Afraid to get text and Trump needs to take a break and slow down. Well, like I said last week, I'm really worried that the reason he's doing so much back-to-back live events is because they know something about these upcoming court cases that we don't know about. It's either that or he's just preparing just in case they try and put him in jail or they restrict him from rallying for one reason or another. He's still under the gag order and stuff. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But he's going live a lot. His live events are crazy. It's hard to keep up with. SEPA, we should suggest the cones to replace the COVID masks. Yeah, but then when they try to tell us to put our cone on, then, people are really going to get punched in the face. That's how it's going to go. The mask was one thing, you could just kind of hang it over the ear, call it a day. I don't know about the cones, though. That's going to be too much. Pumpkin, try wearing a cone for a couple hours. You would hate it, too. Yeah, Pumpkin, there's no way. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the cone. That's why I said he's a poor dog. He's a poor dog. Hey, I appreciate you, Zupia. Thank you for being here with us. Lee Guitarman, Jeff goes shirtless in the chat? What the hell? Not usually. Contempt. Don't do it, Jeff. We don't know how to act right. Nah. You do when all your needs are met. I'll say that. Like I said, I've never had anybody on the website ever try to do anything bad ever. I've had lots of people come into Discord and do that, though. The very first thing they do is try and get banned. They don't do that on the website, and I don't know if it's because you got to pay money to be there or what it is. But the Hooligans on the website have been lovely. Quite lovely. There's boobies in the chat. I'm telling you, that's all you need. It's just good stuff. It's just good stuff. Anyways, Hooligans, let me see. It's that time once again. Maybe. Do the thing. There we go. I did the thing. All right, Hooligans, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Did the thing, didn't mute myself. Let's get these beats on because we're good to go. We're going to read through the chat one last time just to make sure no hooligans are left behind, but we're wrapping this up. And like I said, we will be live again tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. Russell, I am lovely when boobs are involved. See, that's what I'm saying. It's all good to go. Breeze by You, no one could keep up with Trump. He is nonstop. You're right, Breeze by You. You are right. Is there, I think it's to counter the coverage of Camilla. It could be. Definitely could be. A lot of people were saying that about the DNC. He was going live so much to stay in the spotlight as much as the DNC was. Thank you, Snooks. I appreciate the compliment. Hey, thank you for being here, Breeze by You. Get a nappy in so you ain't all tired. Oh, I appreciate you, Snooks. Thank you, Matthew. Schulers. All right. Come here, buddy. Okay, I can't hold you too close because I'm sticky. Say happy freedom. Come on, do the thing. Do I shake you a little bit? No, that don't work? All right. Proof of life. He's the real deal. There's no AI here. It's just giant cat. All right, buddy. Go on. Oh, I still got his hair on me. Shit. Just for you hooligans. Oh, it's everywhere. There you go. That's the Klaus Daniels for you. Yeah, I appreciate you, Alistair. Whew. Thank you for being here, Appeal to Heaven. I seen you slide through. I was going to say happy freedom to you, and I got sidetracked. But happy freedom to you, Appeal to Heaven. Oh, I can feel the cat hair on my face. God bless you, Mushroom. Appreciate you being here with us. Ah, it's everywhere. All right, we got to wrap this up. This cat hair's driving me nuts. I need to get naked and in the shower. Huge shout out to everyone that made donations, join the membership programs, or purchase any merch. Really appreciate all of you hooligans, and I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for all your support. I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.
Jeff.